much, and we welcome you to Minute Maid Park and the National League Division Series presented by Doosan on FS1. How about this? The Atlanta Braves, a third consecutive NL East title. They swept the Cincinnati Reds in the wild card. The upstart Miami Marlins here to make it an all NL East showdown in this NLDS. Welcome me inside. Adam Amin, World Series champion AJ Pierzinski. We found a random World Series champion walking around outside, so we brought him in. Adam Wainwright, we're so pleased that you could be with us for this. So right out of the gate, let me get you on TV and talk about some pitching, because it seems like that's where Miami's strength really is.
It really is. This team is sneaky deep all the way around, but their starting pitching is certainly probably their best attribute. If you looked at what they did with the Chicago Cubs, just coming right at them with velocity and nasty breaking balls, these guys are great pitchers. Sandy Alcantara, Sixto, these guys are bringing upwards of 100 miles an hour. The ball's moving all over the place. They're power arms that can beat anybody on any given day. So it's going to be a fun series. We're going to have some great pitchers going up against some really great hitters.
Well, let's talk about some of those really good hitters, AJ. The Atlanta Braves, the guys were talking about it in the studio. They can really hit, and it starts with the three guys at the top.
Well, the Atlanta Braves probably have the top three trio in all of Major League Baseball. They led all of MLB in OPS from their top three. Ronald Acuna Jr. hits for power, can steal bases, and can hit. A perennial MVP candidate for the next 10 years. The guy in the middle, Freddie Freeman, hitting second. My NL MVP pick should be an easy pick. And then finally, once you get through those two guys, oh yeah, you have Marcell Ozuna. He only led the league in home runs and RBIs this year. So these three guys are dangerous. Yes, the Marlins have pitching, but in the first inning, if you're Alcantara, you got to deal with these three guys, and then you have to do it 3, 4, 5 times a night. It is tough to navigate their lineup.
Both of these pitching staffs did very well in the wild card game. Only 1 run combined allowed by these two teams, but it's going to be very difficult with this Atlanta Braves lineup, and they'll try to get going for Max Fried, who became the de facto ace of the staff with all of the injuries and very much pitched like it all year long. 7-0 during the regular season, and he was dynamite as the starter in that 13-inning win in Game 1 against Cincinnati. He'll have the ball on the other side of the break. We'll hear more about Max Fried from our man Tom Verducci as well. We've got Game 1 of the NLDS, neutral site from Houston, Texas, and Minute Maid Park. Come on back to FS1. It's next. Getting us set for Game 1 of the National League Division Series between the Miami Marlins and the Atlanta Braves. Of course, this year in a shortened season, division foes met 10 times, and a 6-4 advantage for the Atlanta Braves this year. Heavily outscored the Marlins in a couple of games, including a 29-run outburst on September the 9th. But you take that game out, it was very even throughout the other 8 or so meetings between these two teams. They're meeting for the second time in the postseason. They met in the 1997 National League Championship Series, where Livan Hernandez was the star. Well, Max Fried gets the ball for the Atlanta Braves and leads them out onto the field. Tom Verducci, he has been the de facto ace for the Braves this year.
Thanks, Adam. Well, as you know, an opera singer, before he hits the big stage, will warm up his voice by singing scales. Before Max Fried hits the big stage, he warms up the rotation on his curveball. He goes through a drill in which he shortens the distance and abbreviates his throwing motion to lock in that rotation. And for Max, that is true north-south topspin. That is the key to the downward break on that pitch. Now, he throws 5 pitches, but that curveball is his signature pitch. No left-hander threw more curveballs this year than Max Fried. And the last time he gave up a home run on a curveball was September 10th of 2019. The stage is set.
And Tom, all turn to Uncle Charlie, right, to talk about his Uncle Charlie. Talk to me about why you like Max Fried's curveball and what you like about it.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't see many pitchers nowadays throw the big overhand curveball like you used to back in the day. Lots of guys have gone to fastball, slider. The big curveball it's a slow pitch is something I always recommend to guys who throw hard, because it just is such a speed variable that it's hard to cover when it's 20+ miles an hour slower than a fastball. You know, it's just really hard. Plus the shape of it, it's really hard to center something that's breaking that much. You know, I talked to Jack Flaherty about Max. He grew up with him. He said this guy is a stinking aholic. He gets everything done in the weight room to get out there and be prepared. He said that curveball has always been a weapon for him all the way going back to high school.
He'll go up against this Miami Marlins offense. It's a little bit different than the Cincinnati offense that Fried saw in the wild card series. Not as home run dependent, but they're aggressive and athletic. They're going to put John Birdie in the #1 spot and then Jesus Aguilar in the 2-hole. No Starling Marte, as Tom Bertucci told us during the pregame show. He is unavailable during the National League Division Series after that broken finger in his hand against the Cubs. So they'll put the speed right at the top with John Birdie, a guy that not a lot of people have heard of, but man, this guy can fly.
And he's the key for the Marlins offense. He needs to get on base, put pressure right away on Max Fried, try to steal a base if possible, and get into scoring position, because the Marlins can hit with runners in scoring position.
Here we go, game 1. And we are underway as Fried pours in a strike. Off we go at 1:09 local time here in Houston, Texas. Andy Fletcher has the balls and strikes today. There's Fried's 0-1. And he's quickly ahead of Birdie with 2 strikes. Fried readies. And on 3 pitches, he gets John Birdie down on strikes. Great start for Max Fried. So, AJ, talk to me about some of the keys that you're going to be keeping an eye on.
Well, we talked about it with the Marlins. They got to get guys, and they got to hit with runners in scoring position. When they win, they hit with runners in scoring position because they don't hit home runs. And they need Alcantara to be what he was for them in the wild card. Their starters lead this team. They got to get big innings. And for the Braves, they hit 2 home runs. If they hit 2+ home runs, they're 21-6 this year. And then for them, they got to get into the bullpen, into their bullpen, the Braves bullpen, with a lead or keep it close, because their bullpen is absolutely outstanding once they get into the game.
Those keys brought to us by Ford. And here is Jesus Aguilar looking at a curveball strike. Bouncing ball is foul up the line at third. This has been a roster for the Miami Marlins that has seen about as much shifting and as much personnel as anybody in baseball. But Jesus Aguilar, one of 5 for Don Mattingly this year that was on the roster from start to finish. What a job that Don Mattingly did this year navigating through all of the personnel issues. There's an 0-2 and Aguilar rips it foul.
Don Mattingly, manager of the year?
I think so. I just wanted to see if Waino was gonna pump up Mike Schilt there, and rightfully so. He would have a very good reason to do so, but I think Mattingly might have the best shot at National League Manager of the Year considering this run.
Certainly both those managers are in deserving ranks for that. I mean,
absolutely,
overcoming so much throughout the course of the season.
Aguilar goes the other way. Waiting for it is Nick Markakis, and it's 2 up and 2 down for Max Fried here in the first. Of course, for coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune into Fox Deportes. Our friends will take care of you.
One really good thing about Fried, my good friend Joe Simpson told me he retired 75% of the first batters he faced to start an inning. And that is a key for a starting pitcher, keeping the runners off base, keeping those runs out of play.
There's Garrett Cooper. First pitch swinging. And a bouncer to third for Austin Riley. Low throw, though, and Freeman unable to pick it out. And the inning extends.
Might be a little bit of nerves here. First game, second round of the playoffs. Riley does the right thing, but then he kind of takes an extra step and just shorts it to Freeman. And Freddie's usually really great at picking it, just catches him on the heel, pops up, and an early error for the Braves.
That'll allow Garrett Cooper to reach base, and now Brian Anderson in the cleanup spot stands in. Did not have a hit against the Cubs in the wild card series. First pitch swinging, and it's down the line foul. So 9 pitches from Fried. All of them have been strikes thus far.
I like it. I like the aggressiveness from the Marlins. They're not messing around. They want to get up there and get their hacks in. And facing a guy like Fried, you don't want to get to his curveball, like Waino said. So why not go up there and attack a fastball early in the count?
Big hole on the right side for the right-handed hitting Anderson. Big cut, and it's quickly 0-2.
This is what I'm talking about right here. You got a guy who throws 95 miles an hour. How do you hit 95 and 74? You know, you could work your fastball in different quadrants, but you also got to cover 74 down and in or down and away. That's tough.
There's 95 and a swing and a miss. An 11-pitch, 11-strike inning, leaving a man on base. Braves coming up in the bottom of the first. High-powered Atlanta Braves offense, and they'll come to bat in the bottom of the first. Second in the major leagues in runs per game this year, just a shade under what the Dodgers did, 5.8 runs per game. AJ talked about the very impressive trio at the top. Duvall, Markakis, Riley rounded out with Darno, Albies, and Swanson in the middle. Darno had a great power season this year. They'll go up against the 25-year-old from the Dominican Republic at 6'5", Sandy Alcantara.
And Sandy's supremely talented. This guy is a stud. Came up with the Cardinals, and man, he can bring it.
And Ronald Acuna Jr. swings right away at the 96-mile-an-hour heater that Alcantara starts him off with.
Now I'm looking at this Braves offense, and everybody talks about 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at 7, 8, 9. You got a guy in Adam Duvall hitting 7th who can. He hit 3 home runs twice in 1 week.
Yep. Including one time against this team. Acuna squares one up and sends one to deep right center field. Back and well gone. Another leadoff home run for Ronald Acuna Jr. And an explosive Atlanta start here in Game 1.
Well, I talked about it in the open. This 1, 2, 3 is as good as it gets. Acuna led, tied for the most leadoff home runs in the National League this year. And there's another one, a fastball up a little bit out over the plate, and Acuna hits it into the upper deck in right center. That was like a left-handed pull hitter.
And now here's Freeman, swinging away at 96 as well.
You just don't see hitters go opposite field upper deck.
There's the smooth swing the other way. There's a 1-1 to Freeman. He'll pull one weakly to first base. Cooper's got it. And there's one away here in the first. Acuna had 4 leadoff home runs during the regular season. Another one here, guys.
Just a fastball, a little bit up, not a terrible pitch. I think if you ask Sandy Alcantara after the game, he'll say, well, that wasn't that bad, but Acuna barrels it. He knows right away. Gets a little bat throw, a little bat toss, I guess, and looks in his dugout and says, here we go, Braves.
Another postseason home run for Acuna, who's had some big ones already in his career. The grand slam certainly sticks out, but that one a great one to get this Braves offense going against Alcantara, who now deals with Marcell Ozuna. You heard the guys in the pregame talking about it. 2 guys who were traded for one another. Ozuna, the former Miami Marlin, came up with the Marlins organization. Big trade that sent him to Waino's club in the St. Louis Cardinals. Alcantara was part of a good package that ended up being impactful for the Marlins. And Ozuna had a solid year last year and was dynamite this year on a 1-year deal, hitting behind Freddie Freeman. 0-2. And Alcantara mixes it up and gets the strikeout.
So, Waino, when you're the pitcher, the starting pitcher, you're in the first inning, playoff game, and the leadoff guy goes Oppo Taco upper deck. Does it shake you a little bit? Does it give you a whoa, time to go?
It wouldn't shake me if I was throwing 97 with Sink. You know, I think I could rebound pretty well if I was Sandy. I think he's going to be fine. I mean, you know, every now and then you're going to tip your hat to incredible hitters who have incredible skill sets that can put a ball out of the park anywhere.
Here's Travis d'Arnaud.
As a starting pitcher, you're looking at this. It's 1-0, right? Now your mindset is I'm keeping it right there no matter what.
That thing went so far. My count is 2, though.
That's one of the better opposite field homers I've
Sure.
seen. I'll tell you what.
That was impressive from Acuna.
He's looking at Ozuna saying, see how easy it was? He went up there and punched out. I went opposite field, upper deck.
So 1-1 to d'Arnaud, and he's ahead in the count.
Those first 3 guys, their bats are in the zone so long. Somebody used to say about Albert Pujols, his bat would fall asleep in the zone. You look at Freddie and you look at Acuna and you look at Ozuna, those guys' bats, they track through the zone so well. I mean, it's not in and out. You know, it's very hard to pitch against guys like that, and that usually leads to guys who can drive the ball to all fields.
Now, Alcantara did give up a home run in his outing against the Cubs to Ian Happ. Of course, his offense came back against Kyle Hendricks and helped him out. 3-1, and it just missed a little bit low, and d'Arnaud will take first base with a 2-out walk.
Interesting pitch selection there. 3-1 off speed, not throwing the 97-mile-an-hour sinker. That shows you a little bit of respect for d'Arnaud, but also, man, if I'm Wallach back there, I'm thinking I got this guy throwing 98-mile-an-hour sinkers. Let's try that one 3-1, see what happens.
Usually works pretty good. I need that pitch too, by the way.
You're up here, you've been up here for less than an inning. You're already begging.
Yeah, he's again. Waino's not really doing this to get into TV. He's just doing recon work, I think, more than anything else.
I umpired Little League one time, and I'll tell you, it is a hard job. Those guys get their work cut out for them.
Absolutely. Here is our umpiring crew for this one. Andy Fletcher is behind the plate. Mark Wegner is the crew chief at second base. Of course, left and right field taken care of in the postseason. Here's Ozzie Albies, switch hitter batting left-handed against the righty Alcantara. Acuna with the upper deck shot to get Atlanta on the board. They averaged nearly 7 runs a game against the Marlins this year. And of course, if you take out that 129-run game, it goes down to about 4.5 runs per game, much more even. But coming in, Atlanta had the advantage offensively, one of the best offenses in all of baseball. We'll see obviously how that plays out as the week goes on.
Well, we talked about how the pitcher feels. You can't wipe the smile off Acuna Jr.'s face right now. He hit a home run your first at bat in a playoff series. Whew. Get off to a great start feeling wise.
Because especially since the last series, it took him what, 13 innings and then 7 innings to score some runs.
Yep.
I mean, it's nice to get on the board like that right away. And the pitcher, as Sandy's right here, you know what you can't do in a lineup like this that you're facing with the Braves, you cannot walk guys.
Yep.
You can't give free passes, especially 2 outs like that. Give them some new life.
1-2. And there's the strikeout of Albies to finish off the inning. A couple of Ks from Alcantara, but Ronald Acuna Jr. hammers one to the upper deck. One of the best leadoff power hitters in all of baseball, showing it off in game 1 through 1. It's 1-0 Atlanta. Acuna's home run has given the Braves the early 1-0 lead for Max Fried. We'll deal with Miguel Rojas, Corey Dickerson, and Lewis Brinson here in the top half of the second. Here's the heart and soul of this Miami Marlins team. Miguel Rojas, 31 years of age, the longest tenured Marlin. Give you a little bit of insight into Miguel. Made his debut for the Dodgers when Don Mattingly was the manager 6 years ago. Unquestioned team leader. That second line, though. First NFL game that he watched was 2017, and then he and 2 of his buddies won the Marlins Fantasy League. And he hammers one to left field. This game is going to be tied.
Ooh, way gone.
Miguel Rojas cranks one out, and it's a 1-1 game in the second. Whew. Well, if you're going to be a leader, that's one way to lead by example.
That was an absolute blast up there into the Crawford boxes in left field at Minute Maid.
I didn't see where it came down. Where did it come down?
It might have hit Bobby Dynamite up on that train out there in left center.
I lost it somewhere up there in that glass.
Well, Miguel Rojas, team leader, but he kills left-handed pitching. He's got 1,400 OPS, and it just went up after that home run.
Boy, Waino was going to ask him for fantasy football advice. I don't know after that. There's a lefty on lefty matchup, one of two lefties in the lineup for the Marlins. Corey Dickerson takes a strike.
Well, Max Fried came into this game having given up 2 home runs the entire year, both against the Marlins.
Yep.
And wow, that's an answer right there.
Aguilar and Anderson went back-to-back against him on September the 23rd before he left with an ankle injury. The only 2 home runs he had allowed all season. Dickerson slices one to Duvall for out number 1 here in the second. Back to the home run from Rojas.
Like a little cutter. Didn't get in. Rojas knew it right away. Actually, a 2-seamer came back.
I think he just pulled it. I think he just pulled across a 2-seamer there and got it back to the middle of the plate.
Well, hit the train tracks.
Yep. Good thing Bobby Dynamite wasn't up there.
It's a good feeling. We talked about Acuna hitting his, and then Rojas, the team leader for them, comes back and evens the score and might settle the Marlins down a little bit. You fall behind early, and you're kind of the underdog in the series, and you come right back. Your guy hits a home run and calms you down.
Now dealing with Lewis Brinson in the 7-hole.
Brian Snitker, he's going to kill me. Next, we talked to him next Zoom call. I asked him about Fried not giving up home runs. He's like, "You're the jinx." Last time someone asked, he gave up 2, and then there he goes, gives up a home run. I'm sorry, Brian.
There's a 2-0 to Brinson, and he fouls it back.
You did. As soon as you asked that question, I was like, "Way to go, man!" Jeez.
Yeah, then this happens. Way out. The 2 home runs that have been hit by Acuna and Rojas have been blasts. Acuna's went 428 and Rojas goes 418. My goodness. Brinson takes low and he's ahead 3-1. The era of the long ball continues. Marlins, though, not a particularly impressive power team. 60 home runs this year. That was 12th in the National League. But they've got it scattered throughout their lineup. There's a big home run cut from Brinson to run the count full.
When they hit homers, though, they win. Much like the Braves, they hit more homers, obviously, as most teams do in their wins. But it's almost double the amount of home runs they hit in their wins than they do in their losses.
Both of these teams have been good with leads late in games. The home run power has helped their starters out all year. Payoff. Brinson fights it off.
Brinson's got a lot of tools. He's got some big power too. We've seen him in St. Louis hit some balls way out in left center, which is not easy to do. But he can really run too. He can fly.
Three-two.
You go.
Check swing. An appeal down to first, and indeed he went around, according to Dan Bellino. It's a 3rd Max Fried strikeout, and there's 2 away here in the second.
I don't know about this one, Waino. It looked like I thought he held up. Dan Bellino did not agree with me, but maybe he went a little farther.
It's hard to tell from that angle, but from a pitching standpoint, I thought he went.
We have our first batter versus pitcher juxtaposition of the day.
The rule is you're supposed to have an attempt at the ball. He kind of thought about it, and then he realized it might hit him, so he stopped. So he wasn't really trying to swing at it, but sometimes umpires just want to get out of here early in the second inning. Not saying Dan Bellino did that, but of course pitchers want every call.
Here's Wallach. That's clearly
went around. If he'd have hit it, it would have been in the gap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now that one I agree with that. He definitely went around on that one.
Here is Chad Wallach. Has been the catcher as of late. Main catcher. He and Jorge Alfaro have traded the duties with a couple of other guys most of the year, but it's been him and Alfaro. Wallach has been really good behind the plate when he's been the starter, handling a ton of pitchers. And 2 balls and 2 strikes to count on Wallach.
Well, Farrell caught most of the games during the year, and then as soon as they got into these playoff games, Don Mattingly said he has more creativity. He's able to go off script a little more. He's able to get guys through extra innings. And in the playoffs, especially with this year's playoff format, it matters. So you need guys to get as deep as you can, especially your starters.
2-2. Full count.
Alfaro's a good weapon too. He runs really well, and he always hustles. I mean, he reminds me of JT Realmuto a little bit. Those guys get down the line pretty good. You know, a catcher hits the ball to short, you expect him to be out by a fair amount, and then all of a sudden it's bang bang. You don't know if he's safe or out.
Two down in the second, and the payoff from Fried. Bouncer to Riley. This time much cleaner. Freeman had to get back on the bag, but it'll close out the frame. Leadoff home runs in each of the last 2 half innings. Acuna first, then Rojas, 400 plus on both. Marlins pumped. We're tied at 1 through 1.5.
Y'all feel that? Jig it out.
I've learned that already. Very nice, very clean. I can't do that.
No, mine's scribble scrabble.
From Acuna and Rojas to tie us up at 1 apiece. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston. AAA formation in the booth, and our man Tom Verducci is down to the field. First pitch swinging. Dansby Swanson into the shift, and 1 pitch and 1 down to start this frame as John Birdie, the second baseman, makes the play. You see the shift here for the Marlins. They shift a very high percentage against right-handed hitters. What's that like? We don't see a ton of teams shift as much as the Marlins do against righties.
Well, I mean, when you're pitching and there's a liner, you know, right over your head that ends up being an out, you're pretty thankful for it. When you give up the 14 hopper to short that there's been somebody there for 150 years and nobody's there anymore, that makes you pretty mad. But you know, the numbers are pretty accurate.
There is Adam Duvall again, same shift, 3 on the left side against the hard-hitting right-hander.
Yeah, I mean, there's just guys' swings are formed a certain way where they sometimes can't hit the ball. They can hit the ball the opposite field. They just can't hit it on the ground to the opposite field. I mean, hitters will tell you all the time they have tendencies like that.
Well, the other thing as a hitter, you don't practice it. So then you get up there and you look up and you say, well, there's 3 guys on the left side. I'm right-handed hitter. It should be so easy to hit the ball to right, but since you don't practice it and you can't hit a ground ball, you don't practice in BP. What do guys do in BP? They're saying how far they can hit it up there on the train track. So you just don't practice it, and then game speeds up.
And it's really hard to do it at velocity too. I mean, you know, when you got to worry about making solid contact in the first place against 97 with sink, it's really hard to try to direct the ball where you want. Only the very elite hitters can do that.
There's a 2-1 to Duvall. Pulls it into the shift. Nice backhand by Rojas. Whipped over in time, and it's 2 up and 2 down in the second. Well, the National League Division Series on FS1 is sponsored by Hankook Tires, never halfway. And by Indeed. Upload your resume today. Division Series got going yesterday out west in the American League in Los Angeles and San Diego. National League Division Series underway in the American League parks in Houston, and we'll have Dodgers Padres up I-45 in Arlington for you later on tonight. Walker Buehler for the Dodgers against Mike Clevinger announced a little while ago for the Padres. There's Nick Markakis following one back.
So Wayno, when you're pitching, you look behind you and you see your second baseman is behind on the other side. Does that change the way you pitch? Because I always felt like you don't want to pitch away from your defense, so you throw more fastballs into righties, more breaking balls, try to get them to roll over than you normally would.
I don't really change it based off what the defense is doing, honestly. You know, it's guys have tendencies, they have holes. You're trying to attack and exploit those holes. So, you know, they have the defense lined up based off of usually what that pitcher is going to do. So that, you know, it's kind of formed to the pitcher also.
Right.
But our coaching staffs do a great job.
And AJ, let me ask you, do you call a game a little bit differently? Or I imagine you would probably go in with a scouting report in mind for the guys that you do need to shift against.
You do, but when I played, we didn't shift as much. Now everybody shifts. So there was every once in a while, David Ortiz, you get a shift on. But that was it.
A 9-pitch frame for Alcantara. A nice bounce back and shutdown after the Rojas homer. We're through 2 and tied. Max Fried deals to the 9-hitter Magneuris Sierra to start off the top of the 3rd. Corners crash in on the bunt attempt, and it's 0-1. Birdie and Aguilar to follow against the Marlins center fielder. No Starling Marte for this NLDS, so Sierra, who appeared in 19 games during the regular season, is back in there. Had an RBI during the wild card series against the Cubs. An impressive performance in both games by this Marlins team. Offense showed up. The pitching was outstanding. 0-2, and Garneau unable to snare it cleanly. 1-2 the count.
This is a tough matchup for a lefty here. For Sierra, speed is his game. You saw him try and bunt the first pitch, but Fried didn't do him a breaking ball. He missed it by a long shot. And it's a tough matchup, but the Marlins would love to get Sierra on base and start trying to cause some havoc and cause pressure on Fried.
What's up?
This is one of the best base stealing teams in all of baseball. Only the Padres had more stolen bases than the Marlins. Sierra had 4 of them in just 19 games. Aggressive and athletic. Little flare into left field, and Sierra is aboard. His 2nd hit as a playoff player for the Marlins, and he is aboard to start off this 3rd inning. Well, the Miami Marlins, if you didn't get a good look at them during the season, they lost 105 games last year. They had terrible odds, as you might expect, to make the postseason. And of course, after the first weekend of the year, 18 players test positive for COVID, 7 games postponed, 174 roster moves. They used more than 60 players this year. And after all of that, Don Mattingly's team sweeps the NL Central champion Cubs, and they get to face their Eastern Division rival in the NLDS in their first postseason since 2003, when they went to and won the World Series. They've never lost a postseason series. They're 7-0 in postseason series.
That's the most incredible stat.
Absolutely.
They've never won a division title, but they've never lost a postseason series.
Yep. Wild cards both times when they won the World Series in 1997 and then 2003. Back to the top and more speed. John Birdie. This kind of feels like an old school kind of lineup, right? What you might expected in the late 90s when those Marlins teams were playing. Speed at the top, speed at the bottom, and you have your power right in the middle.
It is an old school lineup, and this at bat with Birdie, he can hit and run. Don Mattingly has a lot of options with Sierra on first, so this is kind of where the cat and mouse game begins. Birdie could bunt, but he obviously didn't bunt early. But watch Sierra; he'll try and mess with Fried.
Fried has a great pickoff move. So here's that, just to keep him as close as possible. Tom Verducci, you can tell me a little bit more about that pickoff.
Well, I can tell you this. He has more pickoffs than stolen bases allowed in his career. Led the majors with 4 this year. And what he can do is read the runner. He'll let that front knee hang to see if the runner commits and then pick off. Just like that.
Is that what you eyeball, Waino? Is there something you look at specifically when you're at least trying to keep a guy close?
Having a great move to first is such a weapon. If a left-hander doesn't spend a lot of time mastering that move, they're wasting their time. I really believe that, because you can really shut the running game down.
Obviously different for a righty like Waino, but just as important.
Especially against a guy like Max Sierra on first base, who runs like he's got a jet up his rear end at all times. I mean, this guy flies. Did you see his turn at first base?
Yeah, he went like halfway up towards second.
I mean, you said it. They lost 100 games last year. I'm so impressed with what they've been able to do, and they're doing all the little things right. And that's what it takes to turn a bad team into a good team overnight, is doing all the little things right. He took that power turn at first base. If that left fielder throws it offline just a little bit, he's going to go to second on a routine ball to left field, which is just a true weapon to have. Once he gets on second, you know he's going to score on any hit. And, you know, I think if I'm not mistaken, he scored on a wild pitch from second one time.
There's a 1-2. Birdie pops it up. That'll get out of play, foul. So when Sierra got his base hit the other way to left, watch how far he, first off, watch how fast he is, and then watch how far he comes up.
Watch him, and he'll hold right there for a minute. He's watching. If you throw that offline just a little bit, he gone.
And the Braves had a lot of trouble between their catchers trying to contain stolen base attempts this year. That's why Fried's so important with that pickoff today against the Marlins. On the ground right side, Sierra had to jump over the ball. Let's see what he does. He's turning and gunning for 3. Markakis the throw, not in time. He goes first to third on the base hit from Birdie. And the Marlins have something cooking here in the top of the third with runners at the corners and nobody out.
This is what speed does.
A little foreshadowing by you right there, too. I think you called that hit and run.
It wasn't a hit and run, but what Birdie did is he handles the bat really well. So what you look up and the whole right side, when the first baseman's holding Sierra on, the whole right side, look at this hole. I mean, that is a 437 hopper to Markakis, who comes up, and because of Sierra's speed, he makes it to third easily. The most disappointing part of that is Birdie didn't end up on second because there was no way Markakis was going to hit the cutoff man. But usually when the runner jumps over the ball, they don't go to third. But Sierra has so much speed, he didn't even hesitate.
That's exactly what I was thinking. If you see a guy hesitate, you see a guy wait to get over a ball so he doesn't get hit by it, he's not going first to third right there. But he did it. And also Nick Markakis has a very good and accurate arm in right field too. So to be able to do that is pretty impressive.
Both hits in this inning from Sierra and Birdie have come with 2 strikes. And now it's Jesus Aguilar who lined out to right his first time up. Birdie very good stealing bases in his own right. In fact, he had 9 of them to lead the club on 11 tries during the regular season. Then stole a couple of bags against the Cubs in the wild card series. This is a guy who stole 3 bases in 1 inning against the Mets. He stole home earlier this year.
I like it. I like you play with the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
If you're the Marlins, you got a few guys that can run really well, so you use their weapons, and then you have the middle of the lineup, Aguilar, Cooper, Anderson, that can hit home runs, so you use their power.
There's an 0-2. And Aguilar lays off.
No, Fried had that great first inning, right?
Yep.
And he comes out and he was 4 for 4 in first pitch strikes. The second inning he comes out, he's 1 for 5 in first pitch strikes, gives up the home run. And the other side of it, Sandy on the other side had the exact opposite. He gives up the early run, but then he came back second inning with a great shutdown inning right there to slow things down for the other side and get his team back rolling in the right direction. Momentum is a big thing in baseball.
There's another toss to keep Birdie close.
For me, watching Fried with the runners on first, watch his head. Like I've noticed that when he throws over, he looks at the runner. If he picks his leg up and he looks right to home, he's gone home every time. If he picks his leg up and he still kind of has his 2 eyes on the runner, he's thrown over. That's the read move that we were talking about, that Waino was talking about, where he reads the runner, and Tom was talking about.
1-2. Fouled back.
See how his head was right at home and he didn't even bother?
Yep.
And it's a different way he picks his leg up.
Is that what you're looking for? I know you were a lightning fast base stealer in your days.
I stole like 6 bases in my life.
But I asked, like, what are you looking for? What have you picked up that guys are typically looking at?
Well, they're looking for anything they can find.
Okay.
And with him, you look at it. You look at their feet. You look at their head. And if you watch, he's looking at home. He'll look at first. He'll look at home. But when he goes home, he's looking at home as he was right there.
It's a strikeout. It's a big first out to get Aguilar down. 1 away in the third with Cooper, the 3-hitter, coming up.
So watch his head. See how his head is? He never even looks at the runner. So there's no way he could do his read move if he's not looking at the runner. And then when he's thrown over, he kind of, when he picks his leg up, he'll look right back at the runner. You see right there on the strikeout, he's focused completely on the hitter.
And each team has a coach that is strategically looking for all that kind of stuff.
There's Cooper.
When we played the Padres, we knew Skip Schumacher over there was going to be looking at every little tendency that we had.
Right.
You know, when you play against us, we have a coach that's strategically looking at everybody's tendencies on how they pick off to first. So every little tiny little gap that you can get with the other team, you're going to take it.
There's a 1-0. There's a strike. Billy Hatcher is the first base coach for the Miami Marlins.
He could run a little bit back when he played.
Back in his day. Arizona native, got drafted by the Expos. Very good for Cincinnati in the early 90s when they were winning World Series. It's a 1-1. Very high, and it takes d'Arnaud out of the crouch. 2-1 on Cooper.
So we talked about the shift. Now, if you're a right-handed hitter, this is an important at bat for the Marlins. They need to get this running, get the lead, give them confidence. But why can't Cooper just get jammed, hit a ground ball to the right? If he hits a ground ball to the right side, they're going to have first and third again and a run in. It's just so hard to change everything to do that if you're not used to doing it.
Pulled on the ground, past a diving Riley, and the Marlins have taken the lead. Around second, there goes Birdie into third. He's going to get the wave home. 2 will score, and the Marlins have taken a 3-1 advantage in the third.
Is that the analytical argument for what you said?
Boy, the Marlins piecing it together here in the third inning. A third hit in 4 batters.
Somewhere all the position players, the big power hitters around this game are watching this going, that's what.
That's right. But see, that's the counter argument, right?
Yep.
To hit the ball. What does he do? He pulls the ball to the left field line for a double and 2-run score.
Yeah.
But because hitters are stubborn, they're like, I'm big enough and strong enough, I'll hit it through these guys, right? And what does Cooper do right there?
Sometimes you get big and strong enough to hit it through the guys.
Exactly, and he gets 2 runs instead of 1, and Marlins bench is fired up.
I definitely should have been doing that as a hitter, and I was always thinking about hitting the ball 450, and I could never hit it 450. So these hitters who are much more talented.
I guess we should make our first mention of the Silver Slugger Award that Adam Wainwright won at
Please
one point in his
Please don't.
career.
My teammates will kill me if I start talking about myself.
Well,
sorry.
that's going to happen a little bit more from us now. I think you've left the door open for AJ and
I
I.
apologize. I apologize, everybody who's listening.
So here is Anderson now, and Fried getting into some trouble. It'll be fascinating to see how this series goes, obviously, but when it comes to pitching depth, it might be advantageous for the Marlins in that regard. Just the depth that they've shown, in particular with their starters. And now Anderson, who's one of the best clutch hitters in baseball, trying to tack on some more.
2.
He's quickly ahead 2-0.
This is shocking for the Braves. I mean, Max Fried has only given up 2 or more earned runs in 1 start the entire year. This is the second time in the entire year he's given up more than 2. And I mean, when he pitches the Braves win, he has 24 wins in the last 2 years. Only Garrett Cole, he got paid a little bit of money this offseason, has more in the last 2 years. So this is shell shock right now for the Braves.
Playoff baseball, you never know. I mean, look what happened to Bieber the other day. This guy was electric all year, and you just never know when you get into these big moments and playing against the best teams and guys are looking to show out. You just never know what's going to happen.
Max Fried, the 26-year-old, first-round pick 8 years ago by the Padres. The 2-0. And he misses inside. It's 3-0 on Anderson.
You don't want to walk him to get to Rojas. Rojas hit one off the choo-choo train earlier. So
I know he's given up a couple runs, but Braves fans got to be really excited about this guy for the long haul and getting Soroka back next year. I mean, this Fried stuff to me, honestly, it's a big comparison, but I've seen a little bit of Clayton Kershaw in him right now.
It's not light praise by any means. He's back with a strike at 95.
I know it's a big comparison, but we're looking at 95 from the left side with a big hammer curveball and that nice little slider that he's throwing off of it too. And there's a lot of great excitement in the future there for Braves fans.
There is, but Clayton Kershaw, that's like
I know, I prefaced it. That's a big comparison.
Hot take from Waino. Love it.
You'll be all over Twitter tomorrow. Right now.
There's a 3-1. Hard hit into center field, down for a base hit. Cooper will get the turnaround third. Here comes the throw. It's going to be cut off, and it's 4-1 Miami. A 3-run frame pieced together by 4 base hits for Miami. They've got a 3-run advantage.
Well, this is what the Marlins do. They don't hit the home runs that the Braves hit, but they rake with runners in scoring position. We've seen it today already. A couple big hits with runners in scoring position from the middle of their order. Cooper and Anderson just gets the ball out over the plate and hits it in a perfect spot to make it 4-1 Marlins.
And you know they're using that narrative that why not? Why not us?
Bottom feeders. Bottom
nobody
feeders.
expects us to win. They're using that. Even if people are expecting them to win now, they're still using that.
Other than Dontrell Willis, I haven't heard one person expect them to win anything.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at this team really. I mean, you know, this is the first game's the third inning. Lots of stuff can still happen, but there's sneaky good players all through this lineup. You know, we got speed like we talked about, but there's Dickerson is a good hitter. That guy loves hitting, as some of my teammates tell me. He just loves hitting. Very dangerous, can hit the ball to all fields, can hit the ball that you think is going to bounce in the dirt. He can hit it out of the park.
Yep.
So there's just a lot of things going in their favor here. They got an experienced manager. They got a guy who knows how to win up there. I mean, you know, they got some really good pitchers. It's a good team.
Ball and a strike on Miguel Rojas. A little shattered bat to short. Swanson to Albies for one. The slide from Anderson prevents the throw. That'll be the second out of the inning here in the third. Fielder's choice for Rojas, and that'll bring up Corey Dickerson. Well, you were talking about Max Fried, and obviously one of his idols is Sandy Koufax. He did model his game after Clayton Kershaw, so it's an interesting comparison that you do bring up, Wayno. I think a lot of us are a little shell-shocked just because we're looking at a young guy who's just now really stepping into the limelight. This kid took on a lot of weight when Soroka went down. Hamels had been hurt most of the year. All right, kid, go be the ace after you were in the bullpen to start the playoffs last year.
Well, he's been incredible. I mean, the Braves 11-1, including the postseason when he starts this year. We already mentioned how many wins he has the last 2 years. He doesn't give up home runs. He's been the ace. He's been the rock they needed when Soroka went down. Sometimes strange things happen.
First pitch to Dickerson is a little bit low for a ball.
And last year in the first half, he and Soroka were both excellent. Fried was incredible last year in the first half, and Soroka just kind of pulled away at the end because he's. I mean, I've not been more impressed with many people than Mike Soroka.
Sure.
That guy's amazing.
You gonna compare him to like Bob Gibson?
There's a foul off to the left and out of play.
There's just a lot of really talented young arms in this game of baseball that are so fun to watch, and there's a couple of them on that team out there on both sides.
Santa Monica, California native. Dodger fan growing up. Got traded to the Braves in December of 2014 in the Justin Upton deal. Debuted in 2017, a couple years after Tommy John. That's Max Fried dealing 1-1. And it's 1-2 on Dickerson. Dickerson loves hitting at this ballpark. Highest slugging percentage at Minute Maid Park all time. It's a little tougher to hit to right field here if you're a left-handed batter. So if you're at least a Marlins player, it's a little deeper to right here than it is at Marlins Park, but shorter to left field. Dickerson pumps it the other way. Duvall coming on, and he's got it. Fried with more pitches in that inning than he had in the first 2 innings combined after the Marlins put together a strong, strung-together frame where they tack on 3. And they've got the advantage. The bottom feeders, they've been living off that this year, embracing it. They're up. Austin Riley in the 9th spot will lead it off in the Braves' third after a 3-run top of the 3rd inning to give Sandy Alcantara a lead with which to work. And now Riley climbs in the 9th spot. And there's a strike at 96, and it's 1-1. First called strike, by the way, guys, for the Braves hitters. They've been very aggressive through the first 8 batters against Sandy Alcantara.
Well, as a hitter, you go out there, you see your guy give up 3 runs and have a really long inning with a lot of pitches. It's tough as a hitter. You want to go up there and jump ship off Alcantara, but you just can't. You have to take a strike, and that's just good baseball. That's otherwise, trust me, Riley's up there hacking. You don't want to get behind against this guy.
A little bit inside, and it's 2-2. That was about a 19 or so minute inning for the Marlins. So Alcantara was sitting in the dugout for about 22-23 minutes. There's a 2-2 to Riley. On the ground into the shift. Anderson, the third baseman, cuts it off for out number 1.
A guy like Sandy, you know, when you're throwing that power sinker, a really aggressive team like that can play right into your hand. You know, if you're making great pitches, you're going to get quick outs. You're going to be able to carry your team deep into the games. Also a problem if you're not making great pitches. But you know, so far he's making great pitches. He's working that bottom of the zone sinker. He's got great stuff. Obviously, he's going to just try to put it to work. Let these guys get themselves out.
He's got a fastball with a ton of sink on it. Real worm killer that gets a ton of ground balls. Good slider and can max out at about 100. Back to the top, and Acuna, and he takes a strike after he blasted a home run to start the Braves off in the bottom of the first against Alcantara.
I'd like to see him run a heater in on Albies right here. He went oppo, hit that ball. Here it comes. Not like that.
Whoa.
Not that, obviously. And here we go.
Yeah. Well, Ronald Acuna Jr. has been through this before with the Marlins. Remember, this was a back and forth that took place when Jose Urena ended up hitting Acuna. And now the umpires are going to get into it. Alcantara and Acuna were getting near one another. Ron Washington, the third base coach and former manager, has to settle Acuna down.
Let me clarify. I didn't want him
No, I understood what you meant. We understood what you meant. We
I
promised. AJ was talking about trying to jam Acuna.
And let me tell you, and AJ can speak to this too. You're like, just go to first. What's wrong? You can't get thrown out here right here. But let me tell you, 97 off the hip hurts.
Backside, yep,
man,
absolutely.
you'd be
Have
mad
you ever been
too.
hit by a pitch? I've been hit by a lot. You probably hit me with a couple.
I've done much more hitting than being hit, but I think I'm the active leader for not being hit by a pitch, actually. But I do remember back in the day, I think that's actually a true stat. But back in the day, I can remember being hit by 80 miles an hour, and that stung. But these hitters are so good. Sometimes they hit liners off of you. You know what it feels like. That ball is hard and it hurts. And that's.
This goes back to what, a couple years with Urena, where he hit all the home runs. Acuna when he first came up, and Urena dotted him to lead off a game, and they had words, and then the Braves retaliated, and now that's why Snitker's out here. He's like, how can you? The guy hit a 430-foot oppo home run. How can you not kick the starter out? Of course, Snitker wants Sandy out of the game. He's like, get him out of here.
Gamesmanship here. But if you're pitching there, right? You saw what happened when you leave the ball out over the plate, and just like you said, you'd like to see him run one in there. He wanted to send an effect pitch in there to move his feet a little bit, get him from diving out over the plate a little bit more. Obviously, he's not trying to hit him.
Be careful first pitch though, right here.
Yeah,
Freeman swings a lot of first pitches, and after the emotion, everything, Alcantara might be out there like, I'm just going to lay one in there. Freddie Freeman will do damage to you in first, especially early in the count.
And this is like we talked about with the Padres. This is a very momentum-driven lineup. They get that ball rolling. Very tough to stop sometimes.
So the shift is on for Freeman, who's a first pitch hitter. This time he's going to lay off. Tom Verducci was down in the field. Did you get any sense of what was happening down there, TV?
Yeah, it looked to me like the umpires issued warnings to both sides after that, and I think that's why manager Brian Snitker was incensed, because essentially it gives Miami a free shot at their leadoff hitter Acuna, because anything after that, a pitcher is at risk of being thrown out of the game on anything thrown inside.
And you could tell Brian was trying to make his case to the umpiring crew, but warnings issued. We'll keep that in mind as we advance just in the bottom of the third, and already some fireworks.
We came in talking about off the air that all 4 of these division series all have a little bit of history.
Absolutely. True division series. During that little fracas, it was Freddie Freeman You good? Talking with Sandy Alcantara. Trying to be a veteran presence for this Braves team.
I think you look out there, you know he's not trying to hit him. You know, the ball got away a little bit. You don't want to put somebody on base. Not in the playoffs.
Freeman sends it into the outfield, and it'll be Dickerson and Sierra. Sierra makes the grab, and Acuna will head back to first base with 2 down.
If I'm the Marlins, I know he didn't mean, well, we don't know that, but we're assuming that he didn't mean to hit him. But you're up 4-1. You got their ace out there. You got your ace, and you got their ace. You're up 4-1. Why even take that chance? I mean, it just wakes them up. I mean, early start. Everything is kind of going the Marlins' way. They're being sneaky, scoring runs, get a lead, and you know, he's not going to. Why would he hit Acuna and then try to start a fight? That just wakes up the whole Braves roster.
Here is Ozuna. First pitch swinging, and he ropes it past a diving Anderson. Acuna on his way to third. A little bit of trouble by Dickerson in left, and Ron Washington's going to wave him home. Here's the throw. Acuna's safe. Atlanta cuts the lead to 2. Freeman delivers. Ozuna delivers, beg your pardon. His 3rd RBI in the playoffs.
How many people could score first to home on a base hit to left field in Houston? That's another sneaky, amazing talent of Acuna. This guy can fly.
Well, a guy that's really mad and has adrenaline flowing after getting hit by 97 in the rear end. But he was scoring. Ron Washington would have had to grab him to stop him.
And glad there wasn't a collision at the plate, because he would have been bringing it.
Oh, fair point.
Well, the thing that gets the Braves this run, not only does the ball get through, but because of the weird dimensions of Minute Maid Park and where the left fielder has to play, plus the ball stuck against the wall, right? So that gave Acuna the opportunity. If that ball bounces off that wall, Dickerson probably gets it, and Ron Washington holds up the stop sign. But because it's stuck, Acuna was able to score fairly easily.
You saw that with Duvall in the last half inning as well. It kind of hits that metal and pops straight up. So there are some very strange bounces on that wall at Minute Maid Park that a lot of these players are going to have to get used to.
So see this ball? It doesn't come out. If it comes out even a little bit, Ron Washington puts the stop sign
right.
up. But because it's snuggled up against it, it gave him just enough time for Acuna to score and get real excited.
Acuna has scored both Atlanta runs. The double from Ozuna has made it a 4-2 game. A ball and a strike on d'Arnaud with a man in scoring position. And it's 2-1.
Let a sleeping dog lie. You were right, AJ. I mean, that might have just woke up a lineup that could be very, very dangerous.
Hard hit into left over Anderson. That's going to score another. Ozuna will come around. It's a 4-3 game. d'Arnaud dives into second base with an RBI double. And here come the Braves against Alcantara with 2 outs.
Another mistake here by Sandy. It's a ball up. d'Arnaud doesn't miss it, hits another one. Dickerson's getting his sprints out there in left field, getting the ball off the wall. But we talked about it. They were kind of dead. They were kind of out of it. And then all of a sudden, you hit a guy, and now they're excited again.
And now a quick word from Roman Health.
Get up to $50 off at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, proud partner of Major League Baseball.
That's a good meeting right there by the Marlins to run out there, because just telling them, hey, we still have the lead. Even though, hey, yeah, they've got a couple runs, but guess what? We're still winning, guys. Let's not get out of our comfort zone. We're still winning. It's still 4-3 Marlins.
Tying run in scoring position with 2 outs for Albies. Does sitting for as long as Alcantara did play any factor? How do you always feel after a long inning from your offense?
It can. I mean, he did a great job coming out and get that first out on Riley. But you know, you got to make sure you get up, move around a little bit, get the back moving, you know, especially for old fellas. But Sandy's a big, tall guy. You know, he needs to move his joints around, move his back, make sure everything's moving good. He probably did.
Nothing ensue on Albies. Sandy Alcantara, one of 11 children growing up in the Dominican Republic. Got signed at age 16 by the St. Louis Cardinals. Worked his way up the minor league ranks, and then in 2017, part of that trade to the to the Miami Marlins with the St. Louis Cardinals getting Ozuna. And those two obviously having a moment in this inning with Ozuna's RBI double, bringing Acuna home and then scoring another on the d'Arnaud double. Ozuna, Albies, Acuna, these are energy guys. We talked about momentum, Waino. Energy and momentum seem to go hand in hand for this Braves team.
Yeah, and as a pitcher, to combat that, you have to slow the game down when it starts to speed up like that, just like he's doing right now. Act like there's something in your shoes, step off. Jason Isringhausen told me that a long time ago. You got to step off and breathe in those big moments, because the game can really speed up on you before you know it. There's people running all over the place and you don't know what in the world happened.
Is that why you work so slow?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Tie run at second, 2 down in the third, and a 1-2. Albies bounces it to first, and Cooper's got it. That'll close out the inning, but the Braves get 2 back. Ronald Acuna right in the thick of things. In the playoffs, he has been hit 21 times in his career. Count in the playoffs, 5 of those against the Miami Marlins.
Your blood like winter freezes just like ice, and there's a cold and lonely light that shines from you.
Welcome back to Minute Maid Park, Game 1 in LDS, where Miami holds a 4-3 lead. And Albies with a terrific play. We're joined now by Marlins manager Don Mattingly. Don, I have to start with the incident last inning. Both teams were warned by the umpiring crew about the pitch after the pitch that hit Ronald Acuna Jr. Tell me your interpretation of how you saw that pitch and whether it had an effect on your pitcher, Sandy Alcantara.
I hope not. You know, obviously these guys are emotional right now. I know 100% we're not trying to hit him there. He's probably trying to just run a fastball in to gain some ground on the outer half. You and Slider first pitch trying to run something down and in there. And got him. And we've got him in the past, and you have to pitch him in there. We don't want to hit him, but I mean, sometimes it gets away from you in there.
Donnie, you nicked Max Fried for 3 runs last inning with what looked like kind of typical Marlins offensive baseball, running the bases well, spraying the ball around the field. Tell me about the strategy coming in against Fried and what you've seen so far.
You know, we've had a lot better at bats against lefties in the second half of this first, you know, this 60-game season. Early on, we really struggled with lefties. Our guys have made some adjustment. Fried pounds that ball in there and tries to get that ball off the plate to open up ground. But our guys stay with their plan. And like you said, Max throws a little single. Bert throws one the other way. We're first and third, and then we got a little action going.
Don Mattingly, thank you.
All right, Tom.
Tom, thanks so much. We appreciate Don Mattingly stepping in with us as Chad Wallach swings away and misses. Count 1-1. Albies had the great play on Brinson to start off this top half of the 4th inning.
And a broken belt.
Yep. Yeah,
and then Ozuna switched belts. That doesn't seem like it would work, right? Ozuna gave Albies his belt. Like, doesn't seem like it worked.
When we come back on camera, you can wear my jacket and see how that goes as well. That'll be a good apt comparison.
Have you ever seen Tommy Boy?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I didn't want to go that deep because I don't think either of you are fat guys in little coats.
Appreciate it.
I mean, Waino would have been very upset if I'd been like, hey, you're looking a little, he just got done, man. He just got done. A ball and 2 strikes on the Marlins catcher.
I'll tell you what I really appreciate. Oh, yeah, it did break, didn't it?
Yep, right out of there on that dive.
I really appreciate them leaving in their ace right now. You know, knee-jerk reactions, get the bullpen hot, bring somebody else in, but this is your dude. He's been your dude all year long.
Wallach towards second, and it's caught by Albies. Back-to-back sparkling defensive plays by Ozzie Albies at second for the Braves. 2 down in the 4th.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Great catch.
Oh, man.
Gets
That ball
straight
was
up.
cruising too, wasn't it?
Apparently his belt didn't weigh him down enough. Made 2 outstanding plays in this inning to keep 2 Marlins guys off base.
There's 2 down for the 9-hitter Sierra. Keep talking, Waino. You're saying something interesting right there.
Yeah, well, there's a couple points to that, right? Like, he's your guy, and you want him to feel like your guy. But in the playoffs, sometimes you can't have that luxury. But now we're playing in a 5-game series potentially, where you're playing 5 straight days. You don't have off days. You're going to have to save some of those bullpen guys, and who better to do that with than your #1 pitcher?
We talked about the depth being an issue, and now Brian Snitker even said we'll see how game 1 goes for Fried. If somehow this series were to go 5 and I'd have to bring somebody back on short rest, they'll see how that plays out based on today and the rest of the series. But it also could end up being, if this series goes 4, might end up having a bullpen day, and that's been more and more common over the last few years in baseball. But you might need to string together some innings just for the sake of planning ahead. Remember, there are no off days. Towards the gap in left center field, and that'll get down and head to the wall. Yep.
Watch him go.
Sierra's already into second. And there's that big turn. The helmet flew off. How about Sierra in his NLDS debut? 2 for 2 with a single and a double.
So much for what I know. I said this is going to be a tough matchup for him. He's got 2 hits and 2 at bats, but it's a fastball up right here. I was thinking he might think 3, but the ball didn't get all the way to the wall. He was still thinking 3, even though the ball was almost in.
Well, he's got a good approach working right now. I mean, Mags is out there. He's using left field a lot anyways, right? But he knows he's got a tough left-handed pitcher on the mound. The ball gets in the middle of the plate. He's not trying to pull that ball, yank it. He's just going to use the type of the field, the side of the field that he feels the most comfortable at.
And he's done it both times with 2 strikes.
So this meeting, we talked about the meeting before where the Marlins, Stottlemyre came out to talk to Sandy about, hey, we still have the lead. This meeting right here is to get O'Day ready for the next 3 guys.
Right.
You have 3 righties coming up in a row here. Cooper, Aguilar, Cooper, Anderson, Rojas, 4. So they want O'Day ready. So this is more than likely, especially if he doesn't get Birdie out, this will be it for Fried.
Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, out. Right now, a quick word from Evan Williams Bourbon.
Get ready for the next pitch with Evan Williams, bourbon done right.
So now Fried has to lock back in, top of the order with Birdie. Brian Snitker potentially could pull the trigger and go to Darren O'Day after this batter. First pitch swinging to third. Riley's got it. The throw across is in time. And that'll do it for the side in the top of the 4th inning. Fried gets the 0. It's 4-3 to the bottom of the 4th. During that break, Brian Snitker talking with Max Fried after a 70-pitch first 4 innings. Labored in the 3rd, allowing 3. And we get going in the bottom of the 4th with Swanson, Duvall, and Markakis. 6, 7, and 8 due up against Alcantara, who still works with the lead. Acuna homered in the 1st, Rojas in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd for the Marlins, 2 in the 3rd for the Braves. Max Fried looking on as his team trails.
That looks like a pitcher that's done. You know, he's not in the dugout focusing. He's out cheering for his teammates. That looks like a guy that's done to me.
He's done.
After a 7-inning performance in game 1 of the wild card series, looks like he may be short today. 4th strikeout of the day as Swanson goes down looking. Alcantara still yet to reach 50 pitches with 1 down in the 4th.
One thing though I will say about if they pull him here, which we think they are, it opens up the possibility of if it goes to game 5,
right,
Max Fried could come back a day short.
Sure.
Because he didn't get to 100, only 70 pitches. It definitely opens up that possibility. Now it's just more questions for Brian Snitker to have to answer from us.
Well, I can tell you he'll want to. I know he'll want to for sure.
Duvall fouls one away. It was a season high in runs allowed by Max Fried. His season high, as AJ was alluding to earlier, was 3 against the Nationals. 4 runs all earned today.
This guy, Adam Duvall, is a really great player. Getting to watch him come up in Cincy and get traded out to San Francisco. A lot of times you forget he is an excellent defender also.
Yeah.
He has one of the most accurate arms in the big leagues, so he can really throw out there too.
There's been an important power piece. A 32-year-old from Kentucky. All-Star in 2016 with the Reds. And he's been retired on strikes. Boy, Sandy Alcantara, impressive to start this inning. Well, 1 in 5 kids in the United States may not be able to afford to play next season. You can text Little League to 313131, and T-Mobile will donate $1 to their Little League call-up grant program so our kids can keep on playing ball. 2 down for Alcantara here in the 4th, and here's Nick Markakis. And Alcantara attacking the zone as he often does.
He is in attack mode this inning. I think he went into the dugout and somebody got a hold of him and said, "Look, quit messing around out there. Let's go." And this inning has been impressive.
Markakis goes the other way, and that'll drop down in front of Dickerson for a base hit. Well, a 2-out single for Markakis to extend the inning to Riley.
Markakis is a total pro.
Yep.
In every way, facet, and form of the game. He is. Remember when at first he wasn't going to play. He opted out, and then when things cleared up a little bit, the protocols were kind of laid out. He came back, and I just remember thinking, man, he's going to really help that team. That was going to be a big loss not having Nick Markakis in their lineup and in their outfield.
Yeah, but it's in the clubhouse where he excels. Yeah. Having played with him for 2 full years with Atlanta, his presence is amazing, and he never talks. That's the thing. He doesn't talk. He doesn't speak. He just sits in his locker and does his little thing and sits there. And but the look on his face and the way he goes about his work. I mean, just a great teammate. And he does talk. You get him going, he's great. He'll talk ball all day long, but he's not going out of his way to talk to guys. But he sees everything, and when he needs to, he says things to guys. And he's a special player that I think has been underrated for his entire career.
19th career playoff game today. Riley fouls one down the right field line. It was after a discussion with Freddie Freeman that Markakis decided that he wanted to come back. As Waino mentioned, he opted out. Freeman had been diagnosed with COVID and had very severe symptoms. So I can understand why anybody would have some concern, but Freeman actually was the one who talked to Markakis, got him to feel a little bit more comfortable, describing all the protocols. And that allowed Markakis to feel comfortable coming back.
And like AJ said, every clubhouse needs those glue guys, those clubhouse presences that bring everybody together. Marcell Ozuna is one of those guys too. He's going to bring the energy. You had Nick Theriot and Joe Piñeros, those kinds of guys, Gerald Laird's, the guys that help bring the clubhouse together. Dex is like that. Yep. I mean, there's plenty of players that make a team a team.
0-2. Fouled away.
Yeah, Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence just announced his retirement. I saw the other day. What a great competitor to play against, but also he seemed like that glue guy. I never got to play with Hunter, but man, playing against him in Houston, playing against him in San Francisco, Big Papi, Hunter Pence, they called huddles in the dugouts, getting their teams all fired up. You need guys like that.
Check swing roller towards first, and it's past Cooper. Around second, Markakis. And it's recovered by Brinson. Markakis will get the stop sign at third. And it's 1st and 3rd with 2 outs in the 4th for the Braves.
And looky what we have now, boys. We got Alcantara, and here comes Acuna.
Yep.
1st and 3rd, and a chance to do some things. But first of all, check swing by Riley. Could not have rolled this ball down the first base line any better. Puts 1st and 3rd, and the matchup we wanted.
I'm sure he's just going to try to shoot a little single to right here.
There's a good chance that Acuna helmet could fall off on a swing. He could fall over. Yep. He's going to try to. But see, that's the rub, right? As a hitter, you go up there with so much adrenaline and so much anger towards the pitcher that you have to almost back it off. Try to hit a single.
So here is Acuna. Tying run at third. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it wide of third. This was his last plate appearance in the third inning. Part of a 2-run frame. First pitch got him right in the backside at 96. Acuna did not take kindly to it.
Well, his last at bat when he got hit, first pitch slider, he took it and then they went in. So he went through a first pitch slider there. There's another slider.
Yep.
So because of the warnings that were issued because of that, look, we heard Don Mattingly say he's got to get him out inside. You have to show him. Well, now he's a little scared because, man, if he goes back in there and he hits him again, then all heck is going to break loose on this field. We might see Brian Snitker's head explode because he's going to run out there for the umpire so fast. But it's the fine line you walk as a pitcher and a catcher, because with the warnings, you're not able to pitch the way you want to pitch.
Right.
Yeah, there's plenty of times as a pitcher you go, man, I can't hit him, but I got to shove this in here a little bit and take your chances.
Good stop behind the plate by Wallach. No movement from the runners. It's a rare ball in this inning. Been all strikes thrown by Alcantara in this frame. Now 1-2 the count.
And Sandy, I mean, he's got first and third, 2 outs right here, but let's not forget that was a bloop single to left and an excuse me kind of accidental shot down the right field line, you know, a 14 hopper down over the base. I mean, he's still in command of everything he's working with.
All right, so what do you throw here?
Yeah,
throw a sinker in.
I kind of like 98, just above the strike zone.
1-2. Oh, and he got him. It was out there for Acuna at 98, but he could not connect. Big strikeout from Alcantara to leave 2 stranded.
And welcome back. And we are pleased to be joined by Atlanta Braves manager Brian Snitker, who has gone to his bullpen here in the 5th inning with Darren O'Day in. Next 4 hitters for Miami, all right-handed. And also, Brian, your ace Max Fried not on top of his game. What did you see from your ace?
Yeah, he just had a hard time getting the breaking balls going, and it just, you know, you have those days. Max has been unbelievable for us. He has had an unbelievable year, and sometimes baseball, you know, you just don't have it all the time.
Ozzie Albies showing off the defensive skills again. Let's go back to the 3rd inning. The pitch to Ronald Acuna Jr. Both sides were warned after that pitch. Brian, I have to ask you your interpretation of that pitch and what you thought of the umpire's warning.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know. I'll probably get in trouble if I tell you exactly what I think, but. You know, they've hit this kid a number of times over the years, and yeah, I don't know. It's 97 miles an hour, and you know, that hurts.
Brian, was your argument to the umpires that it was intentional, or you were just not happy about a warning being issued to both sides?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's kind of like when a guy hits a long home run off of you, you better be careful going in. You better make sure you can go in without hitting him.
Brian, thanks so much for joining us.
All right, Tommy, thanks.
Really appreciate Brian giving us that insight with Tommy as well. Fireworks already here in game 1 of this series. The familiarity factor, I think, is playing a little bit of a role. We'll see how that plays out in the other series as well. It's all divisional matchups in each of the 4 divisional series. Aguilar was retired on that nice Albies play. The 1-1 to Cooper. And it's 1-2 from Darren O'Day. Makes his 2nd appearance of the postseason after he worked in that 13-inning contest. Very good numbers, part of a very, very good bullpen for the Atlanta Braves this year.
Well, one of the keys that I talked about in the beginning was with the Braves, get to their bullpen and give themselves a chance. Their bullpen has been outstanding for them. And Darren O'Day, fastball slider, a little funky. I know it makes your heart happy to see a Florida Gator out there, Wayno.
No comment.
On the outside corner at 88 from O'Day. Cooper stares at that one, and it's 2 down here in the 5th.
Yeah, that was just, you know, that's a pitcher's strike right there. Every hitter is going to complain about it, and every pitcher is going to beg for it. You know, it was well done. It's exactly what he's trying to execute against a tough hitter. And, you know, at the end of the day, pitcher makes his pitch, and then it's all on that guy in the black back there behind the catcher.
Nice clean glove work there by d'Arnaud to give AJ a little love in his catchers.
That's right. Don't forget about those guys.
2 down for Brian Anderson. Singled home a run in that 3-run third.
As a hitter, you go from Max Fried, lefty over the top, big breaking ball, and these 3 righties, Aguilar and Cooper and Anderson, and then you get a sidewinding righty for your third at bat of the game. It's just such different angles and such different
bullpens
looks.
Nowadays are tough, aren't they? I mean, that's why we're probably never going to see anyone approach hitting 400 ever again, because of the velocity and the stuff coming out of that bullpen.
That kind of frisbees away from the right-handed hitting Anderson, and it's 0-2. Yeah, not sure you could have two more different guys. It's a great point, AJ. Goes the other way with it, though, towards the gap. That's down for a base hit. Markakis cuts it off, and it's a 2-out single for Anderson. His second hit of the game. Well, the National League Division Series on FS1. We're here in Houston, and it comes to you sponsored by Roman, the digital health clinic for men and proud partner of Major League Baseball. And brought to you by Taco Bell. And by Camping World, making RVing fun and easy since 1966.
Now, I forgot where I was for a minute. When you asked me that question, I was locked in on watching them. I'm such a fan of baseball. You know, I forgot I'm supposed to be up here talking about it sometimes.
Listen, man, it's we're pleased to have you. Honestly, this is we're so happy to be in the ballpark too.
Great view up here too, man. I don't hate it.
Here is Rojas. Bouncer. What a diving stop by Freeman. Underhand O'Day to end the inning. Hang a star on that one from the Gold Glover Freddie Freeman to cap off a 9-pitch Darren O'Day inning. The extension and the out. We're halfway home in game 1. It's a 1-run game in Houston. Freddie Freeman takes a strike from Sandy Alcantara to open up the bottom of the 5th inning. A sparkling defensive play by Freeman to close out the last half inning, and now he'll lead it off in the 5th. Ground out and a fly out today against Alcantara, who is fan 6. 5 ground ball outs and a fly out so far. Freeman hard hit to center field. Sierra ranging back. The speed is there, and he's at the track for the out. Very strong defensive play from Sierra. Perfect segue into our proven performance fueled by Gatorade. How about the Braves defense, in particular the right side of the infield?
Before the last 6 outs for the Braves have been outstanding. Ozzie Albies with a couple amazing plays, loses a belt, then he gets up for the next one, and then over the shoulder. Why? Because he can.
Because he can.
And then Freeman, full extension. And a nice flip to O'Day to end the inning and get the Braves back in there trying to hit.
From our view, it looked like Freddie Freeman did the old go-go gadget arm right there.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't he? His arm just looked like it kept going.
Used every inch of that frame to snare that ball and rob Rojas of a hit. Big cut from Ozuna, and it's 1-1.
Waino and I were talking between innings. This is a big inning for me for the Marlins. You're up 4-3. 5th inning. Alcantara's been good, not great, and you're in the heart of the Braves lineup.
1-2 on Ozuna with d'Arnaud to follow.
You kind of get through this inning. Don Mattingly can start playing matchup. He can start thinking matchups. You know, starter gives him 5 innings. Any out past this inning is a bonus.
And that'll be the chess match, right? We talked about it. These 2 bullpens. The depth is going to be tested. You saw the depth for the Braves in game 1 in particular against the Reds in that 13-inning contest. The Marlins, you've seen it all year. Ozuna fouls it back and stays alive.
Well, Ozo wants that one back. Sandy left the pitch up, middle end. That's danger zone to Marcell Ozuna.
As a pitcher, when you see a hitter miss that, or you're like,
yeah, and I like watching reactions too. You know, you can step out when they step out, and they kind of show you that, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that one right there. You know, all right, well, I thought it was a good pitch. Sometimes you think a pitch is really good, and then you go back and look at the replay, and you're like, well, it was right down the middle. But sometimes a hitter will tell you exactly what he's looking for and exactly what he wants. You can just play off of that a little bit.
2-2. Upstairs to run the count full on Marcell Ozuna.
You ever get deked though by a hitter?
It has happened before.
I've gone up there before and missed a fastball, but looking breaking ball like 2 strikes, but oh, I just missed that, and then I'm like, oh, breaking ball, here it comes.
There's a strikeout for Alcantara of Ozuna.
Is that a changeup?
It was a changeup.
92-mile-an-hour changeup. You're supposed to say no offense when you throw 92-mile-an-hour changeups.
See the grip? Yep, changeup.
And I love that Alcantara afterwards looks at Wallach and was like, good call.
Yeah.
7 Ks for Sandy Alcantara here in game 1.
How can you be ready to hit a 92-mile-an-hour changeup when you're looking for a 98 fastball?
Broken bat flare into left center field, down for d'Arnaud, and that is 2 base hits and a walk for Travis d'Arnaud. He'll extend the inning, and that bat will die a hero. Sandy Alcantara so far today. AJ, Waino, what do you guys think?
You know, I take that 1 inning out of it. I think he's pretty sharp, honestly. I mean, he hit Acuna, which got them kind of going for a minute there. But other than that, the guy's peppering the sinker down the zone. He's working that changeup off of it now. He's throwing the breaking ball occasionally when he needs to. I'm impressed. I think, you know, you take that 1 inning out of it, the guy's really dominant.
Here's Albies.
And he's getting ahead of these guys. You know, 3 for 5, 2 for 3, 3 for 6, 5 for 5, and first pitch strikes the innings leading up to this one. That last inning when he went 5 for 5, he had first and third. He was still on the attack. He was still making pitches. And so, you know, they've put some runners on, but good hitters do that. Good lineups do that. You just got to keep making pitches.
There's a fastball on the inside edge, and you said it, AJ, continues to just attack the strike zone. He did it in the 4th and continues to do it in the 5th.
Well, the Braves haven't, other than really Acuna's home run to lead off the game, they haven't squared many balls up.
Sure.
Freeman hit a good line drive that the center fielder caught. Other than that, it's been that kind of swing.
Oh, man.
That is absolutely filthy, folks.
94 on that one to strike out Albies. 5 strikeouts in the last 2 frames. Both zeros on the board. It's still 4-3 Marlins to the 6th.
That's so nasty.
That is. Welcome back to the National League Division Series presented by Doosan on FS1. Minute Maid Park in Houston. And Tyler Matzik, left-hander, 29 years of age, is on for the Atlanta Braves. Corey Dickerson, the lefty, leads things off, followed by a couple of righties in Brinson and Wallach, and then Sierra, the other lefty. Of course, this year there was the rule change where relievers, when they enter the game, have to face at least 3 batters or finish an inning. So we could see 4 batters minimum for Matzik, a guy who had the most relief appearances of more than 1 inning in baseball this year. All part of the chess game that these 2 managers and every one of the managers remaining will have to navigate through in these playoff series going forward.
Well, he's out there to give him length, and he actually has reverse splits. Righties, he actually does better against righties than he does lefties. So Brian Snitker has all the confidence in the world. He can give them multiple innings and multiple outs.
And he's very good, Matzik, with 2 strikes. Really bears down, and he gets the strikeout to start off the 6th inning.
Shocker is 98 too. I mean, everybody throws 98 nowadays.
It's so funny. You do all your scouting reports before you call one of these games. You see a fastball from Matzik, 94, and then playoffs come and 98.
Yeah, there's some playoff adrenaline is a real thing. I mean, you have to actually watch it as a starting pitcher, especially. You have to watch it not blowing out all your adrenaline right away, and then you got jelly legged after that.
One down for Brinson. Waves through.
That's a swing you love to see as on defense as a catcher or a pitcher. You just blew Dickerson away with 98, and then you throw a first pitch breaking ball to Brinson, and he has that swing.
Foul back. Went to 96 that time. And now at 0-2, he's got everything. He's got the cutter, and he's got the curveball that has been very sharp this season.
Not traditional weather for October baseball, is it? You know, you can see he's got the humidity right now. He's got some sweat on the arms.
And he's got 2 strikeouts, man. 98 that time from Matzik. The 2 up and 2 down here in the 6th. We remind you that the 2020 Major League Baseball postseason continues today on TBS. Game 2 between the Astros and the A's. Our buddy Don Orsillo and Jeff Francoeur will have it. Yankees and Rays on TBS with Brian Anderson and Ron Darling. And then the first ever postseason meeting tonight between the Dodgers and Padres. It's on FS1 with Joe Davis and John Smoltz.
I'm going to put Waino on the spot real quick. First of all, you know we're inside, right? So there's going to be humidity. There's a roof.
It is a good point.
And then second of all, 2011 I was doing your series and you yelled at me for picking against you. So who you got in the matchups? Let's hear it.
Yeah, be a TV guy.
Marlins. Man, this is such a dangerous question.
Not this one.
No,
not this one.
We skip this.
Okay,
you can skip this
good.
one. We'll let you recuse yourself.
Because I have to, because there's so many Georgia folk back home where I live that would kill me if I
Former
was picked
Braves
against
draft
them.
pick, Adam Wainwright.
All right. Man, I think that Padres-Dodgers series is going to be really great. It's going to be back and forth. There's going to be a lot of action on the base pass.
Is there an advantage on either side, do you think? Is there a check mark in one box that you go, I really think that's the deciding
factor? Well, the Padres get Clevenger back.
Yep.
That's big for him. I mean, he hasn't pitched in a while. That's big for him. The lineup of the Dodgers is so great. The lineup of the Padres is so great. There's some real superstars out there.
Wow, Tyler
we'll have to get back to that.
He strikes out the side and he freezes Walling. A perfect frame of relief from the lefty. Bottom of the 6th coming. Before the big debate kicks off, download the Fox Bet Super 6 app and play the vice presidential debate game. Enter for free for a chance to win $25K. Pick 6 possible outcomes and watch the debate on Fox News on Wednesday. Download the Fox Bet Super 6 apps now to get started.
Wait, what are the 6 possible outcomes in it?
It's a very subjective Fox Bet Super 6 app will give you. So here we go, bottom of the 6th, Dansby Swanson going up against Sandy Alcantara. No action in the Miami bullpen last time we checked, so plenty of confidence for a fairly efficient pitcher today in Alcantara. Don Mattingly has just seen 80 pitches. Swanson ahead of the count, 2 balls and a strike. Duvall and Markakis to follow.
The tricky thing about pitching, especially later into the games, is you got to play that. Well, do I need to make an adjustment or do I keep doing what I'm doing?
Swanson to his counterpart Rojas. 1 down.
Sometimes the hitter will tell you that right away. You know, if you're getting a lot of soft outs, there's no reason to change anything. If guys are hitting bullets all over the place, eventually you might have to make some adjustments, even if they are outs, because eventually bullets end up dropping someplace, you know. But if you're getting lots of soft contact, there's no reason to hit until that hitter tells you it's time to change. Unless, you know, as a pitcher, you also have to go completely off field sometimes. So there's a fine line to walk there.
And now Duvall to the plate. We know he has power. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it off. Duvall just 1 for 10 in the postseason so far. The 1 hit was the 2-run home run in game 2 against Cincinnati, following up Marcell Ozuna's 2-run blast.
You talked about his power. He's pretty much all or nothing this year.
Yep.
I mean, he had 45 hits, 24 were extra base hits, 16 home runs, and after September 1st, he hit 11 homers after September 1st, 2 3-home run games in less than a week. It's an impressive run.
Did it against the Boston Red Sox and then did it against these Miami Marlins. And off the foot. "16 homers in 57 games during the regular season. He's the first player in Braves franchise history with 2-3 home run games in the same season.
Yeah, but they didn't have any good home run hitters in the Braves history.
No, not at all. It's not like one of the greatest of all time ever did it. Duvall lines one sharply, but to Dickerson, and he's retired by his counterpart. 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th inning, a 4-3 Marlins lead. Look at our game summary. Acuna got things going in the bottom of the 1st with a home run. Rojas tied it with a solo shot in the 2nd. 3 in the 3rd for the Marlins, 2 in the 3rd for the Braves. That's been the scoring so far, as Fried was done for Atlanta after 4 innings. Alcantara still working. There's one of the greatest of all time in Hank Aaron. Part of the deep and rich history of this Atlanta Braves organization going back to the 1800s. All the way back to their days in Boston.
And pretty much everybody I knew growing up was a Braves fan because of TBS. You know, didn't matter if you lived in California or Georgia, but man, that was a fun team growing up watching. You know, when they got out of the 80s, they had those great streaks going with those amazing. I mean, you know, we got 3 of the best pitchers of all time in one staff.
Yep.
My favorite of the 3 was hard to pick, but I'll tell you, I liked the kid Steve Avery when they first started really turning things around.
A guy who probably didn't get as much love as he rightfully deserved. There's our guy Smoltzy with a strong stash, by the way. Good choice for the cutout.
My brother Trey would cut out clippings of things that they said, each and individually, all 3 of those guys.
Ground ball to Rojas off the bat of Markakis, and it's a 1-2-3 frame. 7 of the last 8 retired by Alcantara as he gets through 6 innings in game 1 with a lead. 4-3 Marlins to the 7th. We've never done October like this before, and that means anything can happen. MLB has you covered on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Will Smith, excellent out of the back end of the Atlanta bullpen. Gets Sierra retired for the first time today. The speedster on the bunt attempt is down on 1 pitch to begin the top half of the 7th inning. Well, the Braves bullpen has retired 7 of 8 batters they've faced so far, and now Smith steps in as a key member during that wild card series against Cincinnati.
This guy has been a really good left-handed reliever for a long time. Fastball, slider mainly. The only knock on him, 16 innings, 7 homers given up, and Georgia native coming back home to pitch for the Braves.
First pitch swinging, Birdie fouls it away.
Has closing experience. As soon as he was on the free agent market, Braves couldn't wait to sign him in the back end of their bullpen.
He's on the injured list to open up the season as he dealt with a COVID issue as well. Well, it was fabulous in 2 appearances in the first series against Cincinnati. 18 outings during the regular campaign. Gave up a lot of home runs. He's not a big ground ball guy. He's susceptible to the home run ball. Oh, 2. Much sharper as of late after that rocky start. 1-2. Birdie rolls one over to third. Riley's got it, has to hurry, and just got him in time. 2 key outs for Will Smith to get against 2 of the faster players on this Marlins roster.
Nice play by Riley. We showed the error he made earlier in the game where he didn't get his feet set. This one he got around perfectly and made a nice strong throw to get the speedy birdie. Watch him get around it. Gets his feet set. Good arm. Just gets birdie.
Good fielders have such an incredible internal clock. It's just something that you can't teach that, can you, AJ?
I didn't have one, so I don't know. But yes, you're right. They do. It's all like, I remember playing against like Omar Vizquel and some of these great infielders, and you're always out by half a step.
Yeah.
You're like, and I wasn't fast, but like, how do they know exactly how much time they have all the time?
Johnny Peralta was my favorite to watch doing that. He would, it didn't matter how fast you were or slow you were, he would always make it bang bang, and he would kind of look at the runner and then kind of flip it over there.
Smashed foul, and it's 0-2 on Aguilar.
It was almost like Johnny would not even take his arm back either. He would just kind of throw it with his wrist. Like, I've never even really understood how he got the ball all the way over there. But third basemen have incredible carry on the ball. It seemed like that good 4-seam backspin carry on it that gets all the way across there.
Just kind of cuts through. Albies has had some good stuff today to add defensively behind the pitching staff. He's probably been the defensive stalwart of this game. Chance for a perfect inning. And right back to Riley. A 1-2-3 inning work by Will Smith on 8 pitches. Stretch time in game 1. Acuna will be batting second for the Braves on the other side. Atlanta trails by 1. First pitch from Sandy Alcantara to Austin Riley. Dribbles right through into center field, and the tying run is aboard here in the bottom of the 7th for the Braves with nobody out, and they turn the lineup over against Alcantara with Ronald Acuna Jr. coming up. A little C&I single from the 9-hitter who's got 2 hits today.
Ball gets in on him, but he beats the shift. This is what Waino was talking about. When the shift works, you love it, but when a guy hits a seeing-eye single through where the second baseman's supposed to be, it hurts you.
It does, and what happens is when you make your pitch on a hitter, they don't hit it hard usually. They end up getting fooled and they kind of fist it over somewhere, but sometimes with the shift, you know, you're expecting them to hit it one way and it goes the opposite way when you make your pitch.
So here we go. Here's Acuna. Big swing and a miss. 4th time that he's facing Alcantara today. Homered in the 1st, hit by that pitch in the 3rd, struck out in the 4th.
And you don't see this ever, especially in the playoffs. 4th time through a lineup with the starting pitcher. In today's game, they were rushing to get the starters out, but Acuna, 1st inning, that's how you hit a ball the other way. 428 feet upper tank.
Man. Impressive swing. All part of StatCast powered by Google Cloud. And Acuna goes back up the middle into center. Riley will take the turn, but it's gotten quickly by Sierra. The first 2 batters reach. Acuna's aboard, and that will bring up the MVP candidate in Freddie Freeman against Alcantara. Yimi Garcia was loosening up behind Sandy in the Marlins bullpen. Got the lefty Freeman coming up here. Couple of righties after, and then the switch hitter in Albies. Albies has been batting lefty all day. He's 0 for 3 up from that side of the plate.
As manager, this is where you get paid the big bucks, right? Because your ace is out there. He's been pretty much in control. So the debate is, well, do we leave him out there for the 4th time through? And so far, Riley a C&I single, Acuna ground ball up the middle, and now you're into it.
And here comes Don Mattingly. Yep. So they're going to make the move. Freeman coming up, and Garcia coming out of the pen. Go ahead run on base for Freeman when you come back. National League Division Series presented by Doosan on FS1. Houston, Texas is the neutral site at Minute Maid Park for this National League Division Series. 4-3 Marlins lead. Sandy Alcantara with a very solid start, scattered 8 hits, but 2 of them have come in this inning to Riley and Acuna. He's responsible for both. Having allowed just 3 runs now, he is in line for the victory, but he's going to have to turn the ball over to arguably Miami's best reliever this year in a full and deep bullpen, Yimi Garcia. He's got one of the best fastballs out of the bullpen in baseball, and he deals with Freddie Freeman. Waino, walk me through dealing with Freddie Freeman.
Well, he's an incredibly tough hitter, obviously, but he can handle the ball on any side of the plate. The guy loves hitting strikes. You know, if you throw a ball up there that starts on the plate and ends on the plate, he's going to have a really good swing at it. Doesn't matter how hard or slow it is. He's got a great approach, but he knows himself as a hitter, and he'll take, like AJ and I were talking earlier, he will take what you give him. He'll take a single if that's what you give him.
Righty on lefty. First pitch going after it, and Garcia at 93 took a little off of it.
Good pitch up though. See, Waino's talking about how to get Freddie Freeman out. He does have a hole up and in, and that's where Garcia went right away. First pitch. Now, if you miss a little bit down, you miss a little bit over the plate, it's a 3-run homer.
Right. Garcia tops out around 95, sometimes 96. 2 on. Freeman rolls one over to the right side. Birdie's got it. He'll fling to second. The slide from Acuna is not in time. The throw was. That's a big first out. Riley advances to third. Freeman is safe on the fielder's choice.
And that's a huge play right there. I mean, the lead runner, nobody's really thinking about the lead runner in that case right there. We got good speed at first. You're thinking he's just going to take the sure out at first base. But he gets the out at second base, which keeps the double play in order, which is, in this moment, if they could get out of this inning with no runs, man, you're talking about a huge moment in this game, obviously.
I didn't think Birdie had a chance to go into second. I was watching the first baseman and Garcia over it, who was going to cover, because Cooper went over there, kind of got in no man's land. Birdie made a great play and a quick turn to get the ball to Rojas and get that out and keep the double play in order. Watch though. Freddie Freeman's going to try and steal second right here.
Stole a couple of bags during the regular season
already.
Here's Ozuna. And he'll take. Ozuna is a double play candidate. He's had years where he's hit into 15, 20 double plays. And he's got the tying run at third in Riley. Go ahead run is Freeman at first. 1 out in the 7th for Yimi Garcia. Now Ozuna will take time. Time for our Indeed player resume for Marcell Ozuna, the former Miami Marlin farmhand who made his debut with the Marlins in the big leagues before being traded to the Cardinals. A 1-year deal with the Atlanta Braves. Had a very productive season.
Having been this guy's teammate, he is a winner.
He'll swing and send one down the line and right out of play. 0-2 the count on Marcell Ozuna.
He's always ready to play the game. You know, he shows up focused. He's a great teammate. He's always rooting for everybody. But, man, he really wants to compete. When he gets out in between those lines, he can be a tough out. And when he gets hot, he gets hot.
One of the scariest streaky hitters in baseball.
No doubt about it.
0-2. Way upstairs, and it's 1-2.
Somebody asked me the other day, they said, were you surprised at all at the cell phone selfie thing? I said, nothing this guy does could ever surprise me. But I'll tell you, he's not trying to show up anybody. He's doing it all for fun to try to pump up his own teammates and himself. He's great at that.
1-2. He'll take low, and the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. This was in Game 2 against the Cincinnati Reds in the wild card series. Let me take a selfie. After the blast, later in the inning, Adam Duvall followed up with a 2-run home run. He grabbed Duvall, brought him over in the dugout for one. Smacks it into left field, and that'll tie the game. Riley scores. Freeman, with a big turn, will hold up at second. Marcell Ozuna ties it at 4 in the 7th for the Braves.
Really good at bat here by Ozuna. Knows he has to get a ball elevated, trying to avoid the double play. Gets a slider up. That's what you're supposed to do with that pitch, a hanging slider. Drives into left field, ties the score. I thought Freeman was going to try and go to third. He thought about it, but Dickerson shuts him down. Now be careful right here to Travis d'Arnaud. He loves the first pitches. Ozuna continues to celebrate.
d'Arnaud is yet to be retired.
d'Arnaud's got that sneaky right center pop too. You got to watch out for.
I remember seeing him at Tropicana Field last year when he was playing for the Rays. Went opposite field to right to win a game on a walk-off. He's got good power at all fields, especially the other way. First pitch just a little off the corner. d'Arnaud ahead in the count. Walked in the first, doubled in a run in the third, singled in the fifth.
Well, coming into this, you looked and said the Marlins are 28-0 leading after 6 innings, and the Braves 17 comeback wins in the regular season. So something had to give. And so far, it's going the Braves' direction this inning.
And AJ, back to the point you made with Birdie making that great play. That force out now on Acuna is that much bigger. Otherwise, he'd be at third base right now as the go-ahead run. He may have ended up scoring anyway on the Ozuna base hit. This might be an Atlanta lead had it not been for that play. And now Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, will come out to check on Garcia. This is the play that Birdie made that you were impressed by, AJ.
It was a great play. He's well over towards first base, and most second basemen would just take the easy out at first, but he turns and gets the ball to Rojas to steal the out, keep the double play in order. Then Ozuna comes up, the next hitter gets a hit. Ozuna would have scored easily on the ball that Ozuna hit. So right now that has kept the game tied instead of the Braves having a lead.
Quick visit from Stottlemyre. Nobody working behind Garcia in the Miami pen right now. It's his game in the 7th.
You know who feels a lot better about this game all of a sudden? Is
Max Fried.
Max Fried.
Yep.
Because you know when you don't give maybe your 100% best effort.
Swinging away, deep center field, back towards the wall. Sierra at the track. It's gone! Travis d'Arnaud delivers, and the Braves have taken the lead in the 7th.
Somebody just said something about watching him hit a home run to right center. That was an absolute bomb. Yimi Garcia hadn't given up a home run all year, only 1 earned run. We saw with Max Fried him giving up home runs and struggling after not. And the playoffs are a different animal. Yimi Garcia comes in struggling from the jump, and that man right there, Travis d'Arnaud, just went dead center in a big ballpark. Give the Braves a 3-run lead.
That would have been out in a lot of parks in Major League Baseball. That got over the 409 marker just to the right of dead center. 1-1 on Ozzie Albies.
That might have hit the flagpole of the old, as the dimensions used to be, before they moved the fence in.
That's right. Remember they moved the fences in. Moved the hill out in center field as well. Bouncer to first and foul, and it's 1-2. d'Arnaud, part of a 4-run 7th, a 3-run go-ahead bomb.
Looked like a little cutter out over the plate. d'Arnaud full extension. He thinks it right away. And I love the bench's reaction. They're jumping out over the fence, Acuna especially.
And you gotta appreciate that, right? If you're a fan at home, you know, as a player, when you watch that, this is the playoffs. This is why you play all year round. If you got a little extra emotion, I'm totally okay with it.
Yep. 2-2. Just a little bit high did Garcia. Travis d'Arnaud, a guy who just needed to change his scenery. Was hurt a lot in New York. Never felt like he really got the traction that people expected from him. finds a home in Atlanta where his brother used to play, Chase. And Albies goes right back up the middle into center. A hard hit knock. 5 hits in the inning between Alcantara and Garcia allowed. Darno, the big blow.
This is what you're supposed to do. You get a hanging slider. Darno gets his foot down, drives everything through that front leg. And the ball just keeps on carrying.
Travis Darno, who once hit the apple in New York and they had to put a bandage on it. That was a blast to put the Braves in front. Pitching change in the bottom of the 7th. Braves in front. MLB The Show 20 from PlayStation San Diego Studios, proud to present authentic ballpark crowd audio heard during MLB postseason broadcasts. MLB The Show 20, available on PlayStation 4's console, rated E for everyone. Well, after Yimi Garcia's worst outing of 2020, where he allowed runs and a first home run of the year, he exits. He's responsible for Albies at first after his single. And James Hoyt, the former Cleveland Indian, who joined the Marlins early in the season, is on to face Swanson, who swings and hammers one towards left center field. Back towards the wall, and it's gone. Dansby Swanson follows it up, and a big 7th inning from the Braves continues. Who's 1 for 12 in the first 3 playoff games until that blast to left center.
Not the way you want to come into a game as a reliever. First pitch. Hit over the fence for a 2-run homer, but the Braves, we said, once they get rolling, it is hard to stop them, and they have all the momentum going, especially here in the 7th inning.
There's Duvall. First pitch swinging, feeling good. It's way high. And it's grabbed by Anderson for out number 2. The last 5 Braves had scored. This Swanson homer gives them a 6-run 7th.
Not where you want to throw one, Waino. A cross seam, 4-seam, right down the middle, and 87 miles an hour. That comes off the bat 106.
We like to say that had good hitting height to it. That was not what he was expecting to throw.
Here's Markakis. All 3 Marlins pitchers in this game. Alcantara, who began this 7th inning. The starter today goes 6+. Garcia, the big shot from Darno to give the Braves the lead, and Hoyt right out of the pen to Swanson. There's a strike to Markakis.
You have your saying. We had a old saying. It said the only thing that was on that pitch was his fingers.
And this was the number 2 offense in all of baseball, not far behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. 2nd most home runs in baseball behind those same Dodgers. And Dansby Swanson, who hit double digits during this shortened season in homers. Following up the rest of this impressive Braves lineup. Markakis golfs one deep to right. Playable at the wall, and a leaping catch by Brinson. Sparkling play to end the inning, but it was a big inning for the Atlanta Braves. Could have gotten even worse for Miami had it not been for Brinson taking away extra bases. But Ozuna with an RBI single. The Darno home run. Swanson followed it up. 6 on the board in the 7th. The National League Division Series on FS1 is sponsored by T-Mobile, connecting fans in all 50 states with America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile, your ticket to the game. And by Doosan, the official presenting sponsor of the National League Division Series. 1-1 if you're a Braves fan right now. The 6-run 7th, giving the Braves a 9-4 lead. Chris Martin is into the game for the Atlanta Braves, the 34-year-old from just down the road in Arlington, Texas. Kind of nearly gave up on baseball with all the injury issues that he dealt with. He was rock solid. Had a little bit of an injury scare at the end of the year, but was ready to go for the wild card series and pitched in a couple of big spots for the Braves. Christian Pache is in right field, their outstanding prospect. He takes over for Markakis. And fastball is on the corner for a strike. And it's quickly 0-2 on Garrett Cooper.
What a find Martin has been for the Braves. They got him in a trade, and he has been lights out since he's put on that Braves uniform out of their bullpen. Solidified the bridge to get it to Mark Melanson, their closer.
6'8" righty downhill. And 3 pitches to get Cooper out on strikes. 1 down to the 8th. Fifth strikeout from the Atlanta Braves bullpen. Just 1 hit allowed by one of the top bullpens in all of baseball. Adam Amin, Adam Wainwright, A.J. Pierzinski. A lot of World Series championships on that side of the plexiglass. Your thoughts, guys? Wayne, I'll start with you. What do you think so far?
I think if you look at Sandy's line, it's going to not tell the tale that actually happened today. You know, those 2 runners that he left on base, they scored and made his line look a little bit worse than it was. And the 2 starting pitchers, they battled. You know, Fried didn't have his best stuff, didn't have his best breaking ball. He'd probably tell you that. Didn't have his best fastball command, but you know, he battled through. The tail now is in the bullpens, and we've seen what's happened. Those Braves hitters are really making it happen.
Ryan Anderson is 2 for 3 with an RBI. 5 pitches, 5 strikes so far. AJ, your thoughts?
Well, we came into this series in this open today saying, hey, the Marlins starting pitching has to get it done.
Yep.
Hey, can they handle the Braves offense? Well, Sandy did a good job. He didn't do a great job, but the Braves offense eventually broke through, and they start hitting homers. They start getting excited. They start jumping around.
Yep.
It is hard to slow their momentum, and that's what we've seen here through 7 innings.
Little flare towards short, over the leaping Swanson, and a base hit for Anderson, his 3rd of the day.
This will be a big test for the Marlins right here. Even, let's just say for giggles that they don't come back and win this game.
Sure.
There's still a lot of momentum to be gained going into game 2.
Sure.
Now they might come back. You never can tell. But this is a big this is a big test for them to see how they rebound from adversity. You know, they had some runs pushed across them. They're down by a few now, but let's see how they respond. That's a true test of a Warrior sometimes.
And you saw it last year against this Atlanta Braves team. Your team was down 2-1 in that series after a dramatic game 3. Cardinals came back and won that series. There's Rojas fouling it back.
So you're a believer then, Wayno, in momentum of an offense carrying over to the next day. So if they go back, say they don't win this game, but they score a couple runs and make it 9-6 or 9-7, you believe that carries over to tomorrow?
What I believe carries over is you go into that thing going, you know what? We bounced back well right there. They knocked us on the mat. We got back up and kept fighting. So, you know, at least you send the message to the other side that you're not going to lay down. I think it's important.
Well, I'm not a big believer in moral victory, so you can take that. I want to win the game. The Braves, if they win this game, they're going into tomorrow saying we're up 1-0. The Marlins are, yeah, great. You got a moral victory. You kept it close and you fought, but you still are down 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to, you know, it's not over yet, so I don't want to talk like that, but you have to make the best of a situation, right? You're going to be handed lemon sometimes. You got to make lemonade.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, our buddies at MLB Network will have game 2 of this series at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Pablo Lopez will get the game 2 start. Some people thought it might be Sixto Sanchez. He'll get pushed back to game 3. And Ian Anderson, who followed up Max Fried with a great start of his own in the wild card series against Cincinnati, he'll get the ball after a very solid rookie campaign.
And who saw that coming? You know, they had Hamels and Felix and all these other guys in spring training lined up. So who knows if Ian Anderson even has a chance to go out there and perform this year. But I think the game of baseball is better off for seeing a young guy out there going out there and pitching like he did the other day. My goodness, it was really solid. And if I'm not mistaken, you know, he was working that mid-90s heater and that changeup right off of it that he was using. Man, that was a great pitch too.
Really kept the Reds off balance, that home run hitting lineup. He and Fried were the first Braves to go back-to-back with scoreless outings in the playoffs since Steve Avery and John Smoltz in the last 2 games of the '91 NLCS against the Pirates. Rojas off the end of the bat, and that'll get out of play foul. Thinking about what you guys were just discussing, though, about, you know, trying to build something, right? I agree with AJ. It's hard to have moral victories in the playoffs, but I also understand where Waino's coming from with a young team, though, right? Like, this is such an inexperienced postseason group for the Marlins. I imagine if you're Don Mattingly, the winner of winners, right, comes from the Yankees, has a winning background, you got to put something in these guys' head to give them a little bit of faith, I would imagine, them being so young.
But Don Mattingly's not going to have a meeting if they lose this game after and say, hey, way to go, guys.
Right.
We fought till the end.
Sure.
Like, no.
Well, this is balanced. That's exactly what you two are discussing, is the gentle balance that you have to walk probably as a manager when you get into these spots. You know, you got, everybody's talented, right? I mean, these are all good teams. They're all here. But a lot of the mental game, it's a fine line to walk.
I never thought I'd quote Ozzie Guillen, but he used to say, winners win and losers have meetings. I mean, you know, if you win the game, everyone's happy. The beer tastes better, the food tastes better. You lose the game, everything just doesn't sleep right.
One good thing, Waino, undefeated when we walk out of the booth today. Okay, that's what matters. No wins, no losses.
Well, I'll wait to hear. This is my first time up here. I'll wait to hear what the fan reaction is.
Yeah, I'm sure Twitter's where you really want to go. That's my best advice. Go to Twitter and believe everything they tell you. That's my best advice.
Okay, so you just hit Rojas.
Yep.
We already had warnings. Should Martin be ejected from the game?
What did he hit him with?
I thought it was an off speed.
Ball. He hit him with the baseball.
I thought it was a slider. I thought it was a backup slider.
It was, but still.
It was.
Sorry, what did he hit him with? A baseball.
You have to read the intent there, knucklehead.
No,
how many times have you seen it though where umpires don't? And they, I mean, I've seen it where a guy got hit with a curveball and the umpire threw a guy out of the game after warnings. So good job by Mr. Fletcher behind the plate.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's when people sit in home are like, well, why is he not ejected? Well, it was a curveball.
Don't look now. Got some runners on.
2 aboard here. And here is Dickerson. Big cut. I would have changed this game with 1 swing.
This is the guy. If I'm the Marlins, this is the guy I want up there right now. Honestly, I mean, this guy can swing, can change the whole course of the game in 1 at bat. He's dangerous on any pitch.
31-year-old waits for this 0-1 from Martin. Popped up. Riley over near the dugout. He's got room, and there are 2 away. The next spot had Lewis Brinson due up in the 7 hole, but they'll turn to the veteran left-hander Matt Joyce in off the bench. 36 years of age, the Tampa native, who got drafted all the way back in 2008. Another professional at bat when you get Matt Joyce up at the plate.
He was just about the player of the game the other day, right?
Sure.
He was making defensive plays. He threw the guy out at home plate.
Great arm, yeah.
I think he had a diving play. He got a couple of huge knocks. He's a good all-around player.
I love baseball 2020. D'Arnaud goes out to the mound to talk to Martin. He's looking through his wristband to see whether they're in cover 2 or zone blitzing and get the sign straight.
What's the hot route when Matt Joyce comes to the plate?
We were joking about that, but I remember Jeff Francoeur, the Braves announcer, doing TBS in the ALDS, and David Ross was the first one to wear the wrist guard, and he went up to the plate and he goes, "Ross, are you guys running cover 2?" And David Ross got mad at him.
Got mad at him.
Yeah, because he's like, "How dare you say that?" But it was like the first, because he was kind of the first one to wear that, and it was just funny because Francoeur and Ross were buddies, and then
Jeff was an excellent football player back in the day too.
Shift is on for Joyce. A breaking ball drops in for a strike from Martin.
That's a filthy breaking ball, by the way.
Very good. Two on and 2 out against Martin. here in the 8th inning. Quickly 0-2 on Joyce. Trying to keep this Braves bullpen working a clean playoffs. Scattering 7 hits, only 3 walks, 19 strikeouts, including the leadoff man Cooper in this inning. 4th best bullpen ERA in all of baseball this year. 0-2.
Man, was that fun watching them work the other day, too. They had a couple of big spots in those extra innings against the Reds.
Yep.
1st and 3rd, 1 out, no outs. I think they had bases loaded one time with no outs and 1 out. Got out of it every single time. Just guys making pitch after pitch after pitch against some tough hitters.
That's why I said in the opening, the keys of the game, keep themselves in the game until they can get to their bullpen. Because with the Braves offense and the way their bullpen's pitching, they have a great shot.
A play by d'Arnaud back there to snare it. 2-2 the count. Joyce a couple of home runs this year, one off Max Scherzer, the other off an Atlanta Brave and Kyle Wright. 2-2 delivery. Fouled away.
This situation is where the new format with the no days off in the middle. It used to be you just run you continuously run your best relievers out there. But if you're Don Mattingly, you're behind 5. They don't score here. You bring somebody out in the 9th because you can't bring your relievers in to say, oh, we'll keep it close. Your so-called A relievers, because you possibly have 4 more games in 4 straight days. It's almost like you have to give up a game sometimes, and that stinks in the playoffs.
That's why this at bat's so important right now. Just missed with the off speed, and the count runs full at 3-2.
Did you see last night where the rookie pitcher made his major league debut?
Shane McClanahan.
I have never in my life heard anything like that. I don't even know how that's possible.
It's only happened 4 times. Twice it's happened this year where a rookie makes his debut in the postseason.
How does that happen?
It's wild, right? (3-2) runners go, and Joyce flares one towards Swanson. It gets down for a base hit. Anderson is in. Rojas gets the hold sign at 3rd, and Matt Joyce with a pinch hit RBI to get Miami back within 4. Still 2 on with 2 out here in the 8th inning. Again, AJ, you said it. That's why that at bat is so important, because if you get another run, now you maybe start to feel like you're still in this, and you force a move from the other side. So Joyce comes off the bench and gets aboard, and it looks like the Marlins will turn to another pinch hitter here. Jorge Alfaro, who is the better power hitter of the 2 catchers on the roster between he and Chad Wallach. But Don Mattingly said, hey, it gives me flexibility. You pointed it out, AJ. Now I can bring a guy like Alfaro in off the bench with how they've manipulated their roster for this series.
And Don Mattingly is looking for a pop. He's looking for Alfaro to come off the bench. The hardest thing in the world is to pinch hit, but he's looking for Alfaro to come up there, take 1 swing, make this game 9-8, give them a chance at the top of the order coming up in the 9th inning.
It was a big run, though, as it was, because now you're 1 swing of the bat away from tying the game. If you load the bases.
Yep. 2 batters away. Tying runs on deck now.
Moral victories. Moral victories for you.
That's right. That's right. I'm a positive guy. So,
yeah, I can already feel the magnet-like balance in this broadcast booth with you two sitting next to me.
He's positive, and I'm a realist.
Yin and yang. But you know what I mean.
Absolutely. I understand.
If you're out there and you're playing, you're going, all right, if I'm down 5, man, I got to load the bases up. I got to do something else on top of that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This is just less complicated.
Well, here is Alfaro against Martin. There was. That was the home run cut that Mattingly was hoping he'd connect on.
And he swings a lot of the first pitch, Alfaro. So coming up as a pinch hitter, when you come off the bench, you're like, am I loose? Am I totally not loose? Like, and you get that first swing, and then you're like, okay, all the vertebrae crack in your back, and now you kind of lock into the at bat if you miss it.
Fouled away, 0-2.
I like this guy too. He just confident in his stuff, just attacking him right away with 2 straight fastballs up in the zone. I'm coming right at you. You know, you're trying to look to do some damage, but guess what? I believe in my ability. I'm coming hard right at you.
Mark Melanson loosening up behind behind Chris Martin for Brian Snitker's bullpen. 2 on, 2 out in the 8th of game 1. 0-2 delivery. Just got a piece.
He threw that wicked breaking ball earlier to Joyce and he got a strike on. Should be a good time to maybe bounce one of those.
Yep.
He's thrown 3 high fastballs here to Alfaro. Either try to climb the ladder even more, you got him in swing mode, or bounce something here to him to get him out.
It's up to d'Arnaud behind the plate to make sure he's sharp as well, as he has been so far today. Big run at third in Rojas, another big one at first in Joyce.
I like that term, swing mode. He's done 3 straight fastballs up. He swung all 3 of them.
0-2. Breaking ball. Back to the mound. Martin's got it. And to limit the damage in the 8th. Marlins get 1, but strand a pair to the bottom of the frame. Braves still lead by 4. Welcome back to the National League Division Series presented by Doosan on FS1. Minute Maid Park in Houston the site. Game 1 and a 9-5 lead to the bottom of the 8th for the Braves. Ryan Stanek is in. Braves batted through their lineup in the 7th inning where they tacked on 6 runs to take the lead and extend it. And now have Riley up first against Stanek. Jorge Alfaro will stay in to catch, and Matt Joyce stays in to play in right field.
Side.
In the top half of the 9th inning, it'll be Sierra, Birdie, and Aguilar due up for the Marlins.
Big inning for the Marlins. They've got to hold the Braves down.
Yep.
Plus, not only if they hold them here, it'll force Brian Snitker to use Melanson. More than likely, with only a 4-run lead, if they make it 5 or 6, he has the option to use somebody else and not have to use Melanson.
Are we finding positives here? What's happening right now?
No. Realist. Look, Shane Green's up.
Seems like you might be finding a positive.
Shane Green's up. If they score, the Braves, they'll bring Shane Green in. If they don't, they'll bring Melanson in.
I appreciate your positivity.
I don't believe that was a positive. It's a negative either way. If you're down 5
I like how
or you get the
offended he got.
Yeah.
That's how you offend AJ Pierzinski.
Don't
you
call
tell him
me
he's
positive.
being a very nice guy.
Yeah.
AJ, you're such a sweetheart. Don't you dare call me that.
Hey, we all have reputations. I don't want to ruin mine, okay?
2-2 pitch. Check swing on a high fastball. No swing, says Dan Bellino.
Let's get back to the game. Ryan Stanek, the original opener, right? For the Tampa Bay Rays,
That's
when
right.
he was down there. He was the guy that kind of was used as the opener for the Rays many times before traded here to the Marlins.
Traded last July with Jesus Sanchez. That came after a hip injury last year. I love the line for Stanek a season ago. 47 appearances, 27 starts, 55 innings a year ago. Operating in Kevin Cash's unique bullpen.
He was good at it. He was really good at opening.
He was. Got the high 90s fastball, got a good splitter. There's the payoff to Riley. Sails inside, and it's a leadoff walk. Well, 1 in 5 kids in the United States may not be able to afford to play next season, and you can text Little League to 313-131. And T-Mobile will donate $1 to their Little League call-up grant program so our kids can keep on playing ball. So for the first time today, Acuna will face somebody other than Sandy Alcantara. Acuna, with a base hit, forced Alcantara out when he began his 4th time through the order. Yimi Garcia came in, and the floodgates opened against Garcia and Hoyt in that 7th inning where the Braves tacked on 6.
I know he got Sandy Alcantara out of the game, but listen, Ronald Acuna is up there right now with one thing in mind. It's hitting one really, really far.
Yep.
Because you don't forget those hit by pitches. Even though it's a different pitcher, you always remember, and you're always trying to do damage against that other team that hits you with the ball.
There's a good fastball for a strike.
He's thinking about hitting those oranges up there in that train, isn't he? A couple years ago, well, it's been more than that now, but a long time ago, I had a teammate go, "What you think all those pumpkins are up there for?" I don't know, man.
I'll ask you off the air who that teammate was.
Yeah.
There's a 1-1. There's a home run hack, and it's 1-2 on Acuna.
I got to ride in that train.
Was Bobby Dynamite on the train with you?
He's the train driver.
He's the train conductor.
He took me from point A, where you see it, to point B, which is down the left field, behind the left field foul pole. But that thing goes fast, and you are high.
What do you mean it goes fast?
It goes faster than you think it does.
Really?
And you're high, so it's a little freaky. And it was during BP, so guys were hitting balls like up underneath. So I'm looking down, thinking like, man, ball comes up here and I'm moving. Can I catch it? I wasn't thinking about falling off, but I was thinking about, will I catch it?
In the 1900s, when West End Park was the ballpark in Houston, the Terminal Railway Company actually commissioned the design of a new Union Station for the city from the New York City type of architecture. That's how we got this type of park, this type of history feeding into it. Acuna strikes out for the second time today. And there's one down here in the bottom of the 8th inning in a 9-5 game. Freddie Freeman will come to the plate. Top of the order has been really good. AJ, to your point, right out of the gate, we talked about the top 3. It's been the top 4 who have been outstanding. 7 of 15 between Acuna, Freeman, Ozuna, and d'Arnaud. They've got 6 runs and 7 driven in, and that's without Freeman getting a hit today.
The lineup really is deep. I mean, there's not a whole lot of holes in that lineup. When you're throwing out pros like Markakis in the 8-hole, and Riley, a good young prospect who can really drive the ball in the 9-hole. I mean,
those guys have 3 hits combined. Man.
Yeah, Adam Duvall can lose the ball at any moment in the 7-hole. I mean, these guys, there's deep power in that lineup.
Is there something that you can give a fan an insight about when it comes to organizational stuff for this Braves team that's made it difficult for you, other pitchers, to deal with them? Is there something common, a common thread that you've noticed over your years watching this team?
Well, I just think, you know, they do a lot of things. I mean, there's speed in there, there's power in there, there's all kinds of different dynamics that they can throw at you as a pitcher. You know, and Dansby Swanson's maturation has really been fun to watch. Yep. You know, when he first got up playing great defense, we knew he was a good defender, but he's really tightened up the holes that he had in his swing. You know, he had a big breaking ball, slider, curveball, down and away hole big time early in his career, and he's really turned the corner. Now he can drive the ball like we saw earlier. Good fastball up. You used to be able to attack him up. You used to be able to attack him away and pitch him in. He had a lot of holes to exploit, and now he's really tightened those up.
Big cut from Freeman, and it's 2-2.
I love those shots we're showing of Swanson, Dansby talking to Nick Markakis, and Alvy's talking to these guys and talking about what Stanek is throwing. That's what happens on the bench. You get into these games, and guys you haven't seen or guys you've seen a lot of, you discuss the way, hey, they're attacking me with this. They're going to try and attack you with this pitch, or that he has this, and it looked like this coming out of his hand. Those are the conversations that are so important, especially for young players.
And it seems like you would do the same thing for fellow pitchers, right? Hey, I'm going after this guy this way. Keep this in mind when you face this hitter.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and you know, as a player, you have to have a certain amount of stubbornness in you that you don't want to change. And also a certain amount of openness that you can make adjustments on the fly and be able to listen. So that goes for old players and young players alike. Old players got to be able to be taught too. So there's, like AJ said, there's a lot of really good talks that go on the bench, a lot of good scouting reports. But sometimes, you know, the other day I'm pitching. Jack Flaherty walks up and says, "Hey, don't worry so much about your head work. Just go out there and pitch." You know, it's just good little reminders that come from old players and young players. And when you have a bond with your teammates, like playing a long season will provide, it really helps go a long way with that.
Payoff to Freeman is fouled away.
Wait, what's head work?
So like when I'm pitching, we talked about it earlier. Any tendency that you're giving away that the other side can try to gain a little bit of advantage on the base pass. So if I come set with my head looking home, like we talked about with Fried earlier, all the time, but when I pick off to first, I look straight ahead, then they know every time I look straight ahead, I'm coming over. So there's little things like that the pitcher's always trying to work through.
Freeman takes a walk. Second of this inning issued by Stanek with one down. And Ozuna coming up. Well, the 2020 MLB postseason continues today on TBS with Game 2 between the Astros and A's and the Yankees and the Rays at 4:30 and 8 o'clock tonight. And don't forget, first time that they meet in the postseason, Dodgers and Padres, 9 o'clock Eastern, with coverage right here on FS1. Joe, John, and Ken are ready to go. How about these superstars across the board that we get to see the rest of the day when we're done here?
Can't wait. Correa, Stanton, man, a lot of homers in the AL yesterday. And Tatis, is there a better, more exciting young player? So we missed this earlier, Adam. Waino was supposed to give us our predictions.
Yeah, that's right.
He thought he got out of it, but I'm putting it again.
Done.
I want to hear it.
Son of a gun. You know what? I'm going to pick the Rays to come back and win that series.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to start there.
So you don't want to pitch for the Yankees next year.
That's the thing. Well, so that, pitching next year, right? Should I make the announcement now?
Yeah, I was going to say we're breaking news, it feels like right now.
I'll make the announcement
Adam
now.
Wainwright for 2021 signs with.
I'll make the announcement now, just for everybody who's listening. Next year, I will either do what I'm doing now or play baseball. We'll see.
All right, so now
a lot of fans are like, oh.
Back to the predictions.
He's hoping for a double play right now, so he doesn't have to talk about it. There's a swing and a miss on 2 strikes. It's picked up by the catcher Alfaro, but he's not going to have a play. Drop third strike, but a wild pitch.
He's out at first, right?
Oh, wait, there was less than 2 outs. Less than 2 outs. My fault. Less than 2 outs. Less than 2 outs.
The
so
interesting thing about predictions when you're calling games and you still might play next year is you're going to have to play against those guys that, kind of like when 2011 when A.J. Pierzinski picked the Rangers to beat the Cardinals. And then, luckily the Cardinals won that. But, we don't forget those kinds of things. Because they put us out and they're playing with a lot of excitement, I'm going with the Padres. They beat us with 9 relievers the other day.
Yep.
And they just have overcome a lot, with their pitching staff.
And they get Clevenger back, as you mentioned earlier.
I say that with all respect to the Dodgers, though. I really do. I mean, that might be one of the best teams I've ever seen, for sure.
Sure.
And let's go with that A's team to beat the Astros.
They'll come from behind in that series, you're expecting.
Yep.
I like this, man. I like that you're predicting some good series more than anything else.
Now remember, you're in Houston, so when you go out to dinner tonight, they're going to be like, you picked the A's.
And I got some friends on the Astros too. I thought about all that before I picked it. But those are things that those are tough questions that you love putting people in the spot. That's your favorite thing.
These are tough questions.
Do you think you enjoyed that? Do you think you enjoyed doing that to you?
But these are the tough questions that if he doesn't pitch next year, that he's going to have to answer. And you still have friends on teams just because you quit playing.
Yep.
And then but the difference is you have to walk in the locker room.
Chalk it up to my rookiness as a caller. How about that?
There you go.
I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. don't take offense to it.
Now he tells us. Now he tells us.
Don't take offense to it. It's just my ineptitude at being a game caller.
No, we're happy to have you, brother, and we're happy to get your insights. Happy to have AJ and Adam with us, and Tom Perducci down on the field. Our excellent crew, Aaron Stoikov and Mitch Riggin leading the way in our great truck. There's a strike on the outer corner to Darno, and the count 2-2. Bottom of the 8th inning and 2 outs. Riley walked. Acuna struck out. Freeman walked. Ozuna struck out with the wild pitch, advancing both runners. 28th pitch of this 8th inning for Stanek in a relief outing. Trying to retire d'Arnaud for the first time in this game. If you have it on your bingo card, Travis d'Arnaud is a triple shy of the cycle. I know a certain play-by-play guy who's rolling his eyes very hard right now hearing about the cycle. He's got a connection to both of these teams. Our buddy Boog Shambi, former broadcaster for the Marlins and the Braves. 2-2 delivery.
See Travis d'Arnaud turn around and ask Andy Fletcher behind the plate, is that a strike? And every umpire looks at you and goes, yeah, you swung at it. Of course it's a strike. It's like, oh, that's not what I meant.
It's just semantics for everybody, right? There's a 2-2. Count runs full. Albies on deck.
This has got to be Stanek's last hitter, right? I mean, he's got almost 30 pitches in this inning.
Switch hitter coming up next. Payoff. And a check down to first. No swing. It's a walk. And Stanek has walked him loaded.
That was a great take right there.
Let's get a little bit more from the field. Let's check in with Tom Verducci.
Yeah, Adam, before this inning, the Marlins pitching staff had done a pretty good job doing exactly what Don Mattingly wanted, and that was to pitch this team aggressively. He said, we can't give them anything. Only one walk until this inning. But here's the problem. The Braves are not just one of the, if not the best fastball hitting team. They're one of the most aggressive swinging teams. You notice we have not called the name of home plate umpire Andy Fletcher much. First of all, he's done a good job. But secondly, only 8 times have the Braves looked at a fastball in the zone. This team jumps on pitches early in at-bats. 5 of their 12 hits have been on the first or second pitch, including 2 of the home runs. So this Atlanta team, even when you attack them, they are a handful up and down the lineup because they are so aggressive.
Yeah, at one point, Alcantara didn't have a called strike in this game because all the strikes were swinging. They were swinging misses or swings and fouls. As aggressive as we've seen a team in baseball this year, they lived up to it, the Braves. Albies sends it to deep left field. Playable for Dickerson. It's a 4-run lead for the Atlanta Braves to the top half of the 9th inning. Marlins will have 9-1-2. Sierra, Birdie, and Aguilar due up down to their last outs in Game 1. Here is Mark Melancon into the game with a 4-run advantage, non-save spot here in the top of the 9th inning, but trying to get the final 3 outs to give the Braves a series lead. 11 of 13 in save chances during the regular season for Mark Melancon. And he'll face 9-1-2. Max Sierra, who has a couple of base hits in his NLDS debut, will lead things off from the left side. Corners play in against him. And their first strike to start him.
Melancon, not your typical closer. Most closers come in with strikeout stuff. He's more of a contact closer. Only 14 punch outs and 22 2/3. Most closers come in throwing gas with nasty stuff. He has good stuff. He just pitches more to soft contact.
He's a master at missing barrels. And he loves hitting hands. Doesn't he?
Cutters and curveballs, the new thing.
Yep. Cutters, man, he works those lefties so well with that cutter, and then stinging your hands if you're a right-hander pitching away from him with that same pitch.
0-2. There it is. Same pitch, and he got the strikeout. 1 down here in the top of the 9th inning. Time for the dynamic plays of the game presented by Hankook Tire. Alcantara out after the first 2 got on base. Marcell Ozuna against Yimi Garcia drives in a run to tie the game, and then Travis d'Arnaud, a 3-run blast. And then 2 batters later, Swanson followed it up against James Hoyt. A 6-run bottom of the 7th inning, the difference in this game for the Atlanta Braves, who lead it 9-5 after the Marlins got one back in the 8th. There's Birdie. The 6 runs scored in that frame are the most for the Braves in a postseason game since Dennis Martinez won Game 4 at Old Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego against the Padres. That was a 3-2 game before a 6-run 7th inning. Javi Lopez, Andres Galarraga had home runs in that contest, all part of a comeback win for the Braves. They would end up winning that series in 6 and go on to the World Series. Padres would win that series in 6. They'd go on and lose to the Yankees in the World Series. Another strikeout for Melancon, and the Marlins are down to their final out.
And of course, as soon as I say Melancon's pitching to contact, he goes out and punches out the first 2
punchies right
on
there.
nasty pitches. Gut check time here for the Marlins. They don't come back here with 2 outs in the 9th. Look yourself in the mirror and say, we got to win 3 out of 4 against a really good team.
Last chance, Aguilar. First pitch swinging deep to center field. Acuna back at the track. Acuna started it with a home run in the bottom of the 1st. He ends it with a catch in the 9th. All part of a 9-5 Game 1 Atlanta Braves victory over the Miami Marlins in this 2020 NLDS. Will Smith got the win. Alcantara with the loss. The 6-run 7th was the difference. And the Braves take a 1-0 series lead. For AJ, Adam, Tom, and our great crew, Adam, Amin, sending it back to Kevin Burkhardt in Los Angeles.